I know nothing. I am from Barcelona.
At least he's learning and he knows nothing.
Well,
making progress.
we are live. This is the Redeye stream number 165. Today we're going to talk about natural disasters and, you know, how Mother Nature wants to kill your fucking ass. MC, you were telling me about that hurricane just parked right off the coast now. It's
it looks like the Hurricane Florence now is basically got to the point where it's stalling off the coast. Now, there's two things about that stalling. First of all, because you're in the Atlantic and you're not in the Gulf, instead of picking up power, the wind speed's actually dying down a bit, right? Not enough, but it is dying down a bit. However, the rains are still coming, and where it's parked, it's basically created a low pressure center right there. So the storm surge that everyone talks about just keeps rolling in again and again and again. The longer it just stays stalled right off the coast, you know, and the wind speeds generally are around, you know, that are hit actually lashing because the eye hasn't hit. The wind speed is down, are that are already hitting are about 45 miles an hour, but that's consistently now just 45 miles an hour that never lets up, hour after hour after hour after hour, and it never quits. And it just keeps coming and raining and raining and raining. And Cabbage has mentioned there's been predictions that this storm could dump, you know, up to 50 inches of rain. Right now, just to put this in perspective for here in Arizona, here in Tucson, our average rainfall every year is 12 inches. That's 4 years worth of rain for us in a single storm. It's that much water, and flooding is going to become a major issue. Now, maybe we won't get a loss of life because of the storms, you know, and bricks going through windows and killing people that way. But if an area gets flooded, right, that can be just as devastating.
Yeah, no, and it's affecting the Carolinas, and it's also right there next to Virginia, obviously. I mean, look at a map. Do you think it might change direction like Katrina did? Because Katrina froze, and then suddenly it veered directly towards New Orleans. It was fucking weird.
Well, only God knows. All right. All the computer models that they're looking at so far show that at some point it will just turn inland or just go straight inland and then become obviously a storm system that just rolls up deep, actually pretty deep is what it's showing, inland and then out over the top of in the northern states. Most of the rain then expended itself in Kentucky, Tennessee.
Yeah, no, sorry to cut you off. I just had a question. Isn't the Carolinas they're not, you know, exactly like Oregon, but it's not like Arizona to where the water, when it hits, it doesn't get absorbed and you get flash flooding. You know what I'm saying? Is that going to happen, or is at least some of the water going to be absorbed by the ground?
Well, the ground will absorb up to the point that it can, but if you just keep pouring rain and rain on it, I'm sorry for Cabbage for interrupting. But if the rain keeps pouring and pouring and pouring, it doesn't matter how good your soil is. It's going to start at some point going, I can't take any more, and it's got to run somewhere. And unfortunately, where it runs is on the surface.
Yeah, it'll be surface wash. And, of course, the other problem with that is, as well, for crops, because you end up with a lot of the nutrients and everything getting washed off and back in, you know, up to the sea. So you're going to end up with, you know, the ground's going to need to be refertilized.
Add to that the amount of storm surge and stuff. I mean, that's bringing in brackish water. That's bringing in water, salt water in a lot of ways, right? And you can imagine the kind of farmland that's getting killed because there's too much salt.
Exactly. Well, that's what they used to do, wasn't it? I mean, you salt the land, you know, if you didn't want... I mean, that's what the Romans used to do, was salt the land.
They only did it once. They only did it to Carthage.
Wow. Once is enough.
They did make a point of it. They said nothing's going to grow here again.
Oh, no, I could talk all day about Rome. I really can. But before we get too sidetracked, the storm is just sitting off the coast. What is the sea level coming in on the coast? Do they have tidal wave warnings and stuff going out?
Tidal waves. No tidal waves, but it'll be a high surge.
It is a storm surge. I mean, they have shown some pictures already of coastal beachfront houses already getting flooded. So
yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering. Yeah, because I've never been through a hurricane. Like I was telling you guys off air, I've been through a tornado, I've been through earthquakes, I have windstorms, ice storms, forest fires, but no, never a hurricane. So I don't really know what to expect, really.
Didn't Al Gore buy some property down in Florida, beachfront?
Yeah, I know when he said the whole fucking world was in a flood. Yeah, he's smart. Maybe he was building an ark. I don't know.
Well, that won't be affected though because it's like you said. Sorry, it's going to a different part now. It's not
don't
going
give people suggestions. People,
there
are enough dumb.
Well, you never know because once it hits land, with the rotation that it's going, it could run down the coast.
They're not showing anything doing that, but I've always wondered about that. Suppose the main reason that the system is stalling, the main reason it's taking the direction that it is that there's a massive high pressure center keeping it there. That's actually in the ocean, just off the coast in the Atlantic. That's what's keeping it down there and so forth. If for some reason that decides to finally move off, it could just turn dramatically to the right and run right along the coast the entire way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not unfeasible.
Nice.
And also it's like getting a grip. Well, it's like it's almost like friction though. Once it hits land, it then start, the effect of the land on the airflow obviously creates like a drag effect. So then that's how it can get pulled off, isn't it? Get pulled in a different direction through the it's effectively like ground friction.
Does anybody not find it weird that the West Coast has been suffering massive fire damage from forest fires and the East Coast is getting bitch slapped with hurricanes and water damage?
Not really. It happens
no, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring up.
I mean on a massive scale as opposed to normal. I'm just asking.
Well, no, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this topic is because it is weird how many stronger storms we're having. How much the fires are tearing up the West every year. I mean, how much forest is there really there to burn? Didn't it burn last year too? I mean, the fucker is 4 miles away from my house. Gigantic fucking forest fire. 4 miles away. We're prepared to evacuate right now.
Exactly. This is the thing. I mean, how many people are just still throwing cigarettes out the window? Even throwing a bottle out of your window can make it a magnifying glass and start
I also thought the over-industrialization and popularization of California in general was a heavy factor in play there too, or as well. I'm sorry.
Could well be, but also you've got fucking loonies who just go out and they like to they start one because I don't know because they're mental. And things like that.
I'm looking at the chat. Eldritch God says Trump got blamed for the hurricane by the New York Times. Really?
Yeah, when doesn't he get blamed for that shit by the New York Times?
Okay, that part was just absolutely ridiculous. The Washington Post even said, literally put out an article saying Trump is complicit in Hurricane Florence. Complicit in Hurricane Florence.
Oh my God. What, is he supposed to be one of the crazy bastards shooting at the hurricane? Like, because that'd be good optics, right? What the fuck?
Like, he really must have went to Hogwarts. Lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
Yeah.
I mean, the press and Trump derangement syndrome is just out of control.
It is. It's insane. They're making it hard for me not to like the guy. Like, now I'm on Trump's side. Like, son of a bitch.
I do remember there was Kaku. What's his name? That the silver-haired physicist.
Kaku.
Yeah, the Japanese guy. Mm-hmm. And he was on. I saw him on the news, and he was going on about firing terawatt lasers into the hurricanes. So they are talking about shooting the hurricane. Yeah,
a terawatt laser. Where are you going to get
seriously.
a terawatt laser?
I don't know. Don't ask me. Ask him. He was going on about it.
You're going to get a mobile terawatt laser and fire it into the and what do they?
It sounded a bit flat Earth to me, but he was talking about it.
I mean, we do have lasers that are in. We do have certain megawatt lasers that we have, but I don't think we have a terawatt except for in a major building with a facility involved that we can create a terawatt laser.
Oh, you have to be very conveniently positioned at the moment. Yeah, I mean, like you're not like you said, you're not throwing it on the back of a truck and running around like a tornado chaser or something.
And most of those things aren't really a single laser. They have a single focal point. They're using multiple lasers to generate.
Well, no, and real quick though, Cabby, you said fucking tornado chasers. All I could think is we got cows. And if you guys get the reference, then here's fucking my friends. Okay, so
we have a lot of storm chasers in Iowa, and I keep telling them, "Are you so bored?" And I'm not mocking them because a lot of them do it because they are amateur meteorologists or they are actually in the meteorology field. Are you so fucking bored that you have to chase something that can essentially kill you? And the most witty comeback for them is, well, you could do the same thing by, not finishing that Diet Coke there. And I'm like, ugh. So are you trying to tell me? Are you trying? Yeah. Well, are you trying to? That's what I said. So it's like, what are you getting at? Are you trying to tell me there's a storm in a can? And my point is, I know it's very offbeat, but my point is, there are people that are so obsessed with being storm chasers that they're probably relishing something like Hurricane Florence right now. And you've got to really wonder how fucking insane they are. Because this is basically something that's destroying not only a lot of land and hurting a lot of people, to where I noticed that Styx Hexenhammer is basically saying, hey, man, you might as well stock up on Bud Light. It's about the best thing you're going to get besides having actual water, because the water is, what did you call it, MC?
Brackish.
Yeah, it's basically shit water. And you can't drink, and there's no way to drink it because it's so
polluted. Well, that's the thing. When this water comes down, and you got like 50 inches, if it does turn out to be that amount, I mean, all the storm drains, all the drains are going to overflow, and all the crap that's in those sewers is going to be flushed out, all over the place. Everyone's basements, everybody's ground floor is basically just going to be, shit coated.
And then on top of that, isn't there still like massive deposits of bottled water still in Puerto Rico just sitting there, or for Puerto Rico just sitting there that could be distributed, but derp.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. That's a question I do have. What is FEMA actually mobilizing for this hurricane? Are they actually doing their job this time?
Their checkbooks. They've got their checkbooks.
That's an interesting question, because what is FEMA supposed to do? What's their job?
It's basically supposed to help people in time of a crisis, in a national crisis, like when they had Hurricane Katrina. They were, oddly enough, a more effective job. It's what does it technically stand for? Federal Emergency, or correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember most of it.
Agency.
Yeah, is that it?
Management agency. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is it. Yeah.
They're supposed to supplement local groups. They're supposed to, like, local law enforcement, local emergency response groups, things like that. They're not supposed to be the ones that manage the entire thing. They're supposed to supplement what's already on the ground.
And they shouldn't be disarming people either. Like they did in New Orleans.
You can't justify that. There's no way to justify that. You're right. But what people expected FEMA to do in Puerto Rico, they went to Puerto Rico and started handing out making sure all the logistics and all the food got there and everything else. Now, the distribution of that around, all right, to the various areas around the island, that isn't FEMA's role. That's not what their role was. That's not what they were created to do.
Well, no, with Puerto Rico as well, wasn't it? The fact that the truck drivers were all on strike and they wouldn't go out, so they had to call in the military to start the distribution process, and it took an extra 8 days or something for them to.
Shouldn't the Army Corps of Engineers been there already and set up that power plant again? How long were they out of power? Do they even have power back in Puerto Rico?
No, they don't have power back because the grid is freaking destroyed, and the grid is destroyed because they kept ignoring all the warnings, just like New Orleans when it came to the levees. The Army Corps of Engineers kept saying, okay, we're ready to build this, and the funding just kept getting jerked away from them again and again and again by the local frickin' politics.
Why is it local, though? The Army Corps of Engineers is a federal part. It's part of the military.
The Army Corps of Engineers, like everything else, when you do this kind of stuff, they are lent to these areas to fix things. They are not assigned necessarily unless it's a specific what do you call it?
Emergency.
Well, you know
Call it
what?
an emergency. I'm trying to think of what it is. It has to be a national security issue that they can do things.
Well, aren't those fucking
Right,
levees a
yeah.
goddamn national security issue? I mean, look at what happened in New
No,
Orleans.
it's not.
It's not security. It's not. That's got nothing to do with security.
Did you see the fucking turmoil that happened immediately after?
I
It took 3 days, and they
Yeah,
were
but
practically eating each other. Like
Yeah, but
3
that's
days,
not
and that's
that's
it.
not
Now
national
suddenly it's
security.
That's
fucking
still
chaos.
like it or not. That's not a national security task.
Yeah, that
really isn't.
The levees and the dams in New Orleans were strictly on a local state scale. They knew they had to get these things up to speed, and the funding got jerked around. And instead of vying for it even more and getting on somebody's ass, hey, Bush administration, they just kind of sat on their ass like, well, derp, 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 nothing bad's going to happen, and then boom.
Well, they also knew it was coming anyway. There's a couple of meteorological centers that were warning them what was going to happen, and they were proven 100% right. So there was a lot of failure of preparation for New Orleans that could have been done.
And honestly, and sorry to interrupt here, MC. And honestly, I think that and I may be off with this whole train of thought here. And if I am, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But with President Trump being our president, with the current state of politics and people being factional whiny bitches, I think that's at least a reasonable percentage of why shit isn't getting done, because they want to stick it to Trump. They're being childish little brats. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I honestly don't think I am.
Well, I don't think you can't say that you're wrong when you take a look at the response of the mayor of San Juan. She's standing in front of warehouses of food, and she's refusing to distribute it.
Well, no, when you're looking at Puerto Rico, you're absolutely correct. But when you're looking at the Carolinas, they're red states. They should be prepared. They should have already mobilized and evacuated people. And they really haven't done shit, right?
They have ordered mandatory
correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Puerto Rico is not a state. It's a territory.
Yeah, it's an unofficial territory of America.
Yeah, so it falls under different.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but it falls under different, rules and things like that. So I mean, what you would expect to happen in a state is not necessarily what is required, expected or required.
The island of Puerto Rico in many ways has a lot more autonomy. All right, because they're not subject to a lot of the regulatory rules that affect the United States proper. People don't recognize it.
You know what is interesting though is people are fucking retarded. Like the wildfire, right, pretty much outside my fucking door. Like Sarah Palin, I can see it from my fucking front porch. Anyway.
Well, of course you can see it from your front porch. You lit it from your front porch.
Hey, fucking
exactly. Yeah.
No, but some fucking idiot.
That's not a forest fire. It's a brazier.
No, we have helicopters, scooping up water and dropping them on the fire, right? Some fucking moron.
Helicopters.
Some fucking moron flew their goddamn drone into the fucking airspace and damn near hit the helicopter, and everything had to stop for fucking hours. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, my wife works at the motel up there, so the firefighters are staying there. That's what they were fucking bitching about for fucking the whole time, like, what the fuck? These people are idiots.
I'm surprised that it wasn't shot down.
They're tiny. I mean, what kind of a drone was it? It's not going to be one of the Patriot drones. It's not like a.
No, it's a privately owned drone by a person who went in and was being a smartass. And from what I can understand is, if it's in that type of situation, it could be considered a violation of airspace, and local police even could say, you know what, bye, boom, you're done.
Yeah, but they're only like a couple of feet across and stuff. I tell you what, and the helicopters that they're using, they're designed to take bird strikes and stuff. If they can't handle a little fucking plastic drone, then there's something very wrong with the mechanics.
But that's not the point. The point is you're a goddamn moron because you're flying a fucking drone over a goddamn fire that's over fucking 4,000 acres large. Yeah, like the thing is gigantic.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. So the chance of them actually colliding with this fucking thing, which is only about 2 feet wide, 2 feet by 2 feet, is fucking nominal. Well, especially at any given altitude as well. So don't forget, it didn't just have to be in the location. It had to be at a relative altitude.
Well, the helicopter's not going at a high altitude. It has to dip in and go into the Mackenzie River, scoop up the water, and fly, and then dump it. So it's
I know. No, I appreciate that it's but it's still going to be relatively high. If somebody's usually doing a drone thing, it's to try and get some close-up footage, the fire and things like that. So I don't know. I think that seems like a massive overreaction to the idea that there was some fucking hobbyist with a drone. And if the equipment is that
but what you have, to an extent, Cabbage, I kind of agree with you. All right, but at the same time, it is a risk, an unnecessary risk to the responders that are trying to put out the fire.
Well, fair enough, but that doesn't mean that you stop everything just because of it.
Well, that's why I was so mad.
Just let the local sheriff know, and like you said, someone goes and shoots it down.
Well, that's why I'm mad though, is because it is interacting with the firefighters, and just last year a fire turned and it burnt fucking 10 firefighters. They went into their fucking fire tents because they have an emergency tent that they hunker down in, and it didn't matter. The fire shifted and it fucking burnt them alive. These people are trying to protect our forests and stop this shit from spreading the houses. And they don't need this shit. They don't need a drone in their airspace. They don't need the goddamn distraction.
Oh, no, true. But they also don't need cretins who throw their lit cigarettes out the window into the the brush as they're driving along, or throw their bottles out. There's plenty of things they really don't need. So, it's just another example of the lack of awareness.
The difference, though, with this, Cabbage, is this is directly affecting them doing their job.
Yeah.
It's one thing.
Now, isn't it? I know in the state of Iowa that if you interfere with a fire and rescue operation, you can get slammed with a felony. Is it not a felony out there where you're at, Mad Dodge?
I believe it is. I believe actually that's what the firefighters were talking about when my wife overheard them, was they're looking for the motherfucker that was flying it. So yeah.
Good luck. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, good luck with that, unless you can trace the drone back with ownership by ID number, but I doubt it.
Yeah. No, like exactly. And they probably.
I don't understand why they didn't just like get somebody out there, like you said.
Started the fire. I mean, yeah, it's probably not going to happen, but it's still why you're messing with someone's life at that point. If a fire shifts and they're staring at a drone in the sky, they could die. This is
there's no doubt about it. Yeah, no. I mean, there's very poor judgment on behalf of the person who decided to do it. But I still don't think that it's such a big fucking issue. I mean, like I said, number one, it shouldn't really be able to affect one of the helicopters that they're using. Secondly, just get somebody out there and just shoot the fucker. I'm sure there's plenty of extremely like sheriffs or whatever who could go out there with a shotgun or someone who's a sniper and just snipe the little bastard out.
Well, to be fair, Oregon is an open carry state, so yeah, some of those firefighters probably had guns on them. I mean, they probably could have shot it down. You're right, but then again,
I suspect that while they're on duty, they're not allowed to have weapons.
Actually, I think you're actually.
I don't see why they couldn't, because if they are on duty, and I don't know, I couldn't tell you. I don't.
Too many freaking idiots that are so damn afraid of guns that and the optics of it, that they don't want people carrying guns around. Even if you know what you're doing, they won't want you to carry freaking guns. And you're talking about liberal la land down there in freaking Portland.
Either way, there's plenty of police. Plenty of police, and I'm sure that there's some volunteers and people like that. I mean, it's bound to be police sniper, a SWAT team. I mean, the SWAT teams have snipers.
We're gonna SWAT the drone.
Yeah,
why not? I mean, you got the resources. You just get rid of the fucking thing. And
I mean, they should. To me, I agree that they should authorize these guys to. They should have somebody in that helicopter with a shotgun, and with open season on any drone they see.
Yeah, well, I don't see why not. It's perfect. I mean, if it's such a big threat, but I don't really see that it could even be remotely, such a big threat. I think it's a big fuss about nothing.
Well,
you got
sounds like a bunch of shit, like pansy.
No,
those are not.
Wait, how is it not a big threat though when a goddamn pigeon has brought down a plane before? I mean, come on.
A pigeon is not trying to intentionally harm someone. A pigeon's just being a dumbass. A person. It actually takes a person to fly the drone, and be a smartass thinking that they're going to be a hero or whatever. A pigeon is just doing what a pigeon does. And if a pigeon gets into the engine system of a plane and takes the plane down, it's unfortunately just the way it is. That's really the difference. Nature versus stupidity.
And the thing is, I mean, like a pigeon taking down what was it? A fucking Cessna?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't taking down a friggin' 747. It wasn't taking down a
Well, these aren't military helicopters, Cabby. They're small and they're taking off from a very small airfield up here. Very small.
They're not particularly small. They're big. They got massive engines because they need to lift that water. I mean, they're lifters. You know, like
they are lifting, but a lot of the redundant mechanisms that you expect in the military aircraft are not in place in the civilian model.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are civilian craft.
Still, like I said,
and remember, I went to flight school for a while. I didn't graduate. I'm not a pilot, but I did go to flight school, so I do know a little bit about this. A drone.
Well, like I said, it's still you got to look at the cubics. You got to look at the cubic, feet. In that was there, and the chance of that thing actually causing any problem would be so minimal. And if it was thought to be a problem, then shoot the fucker down, and that's it, problem solved. But I don't really see that it was a massive threat. It was a stupid thing for somebody to do, I agree.
Right.
But I don't think that it was ever really a threat.
Well, there are too many bureaucrats. Well, a lot of it, I agree with you, Cabbage, to an extent with this, because there are a lot of bureaucrats that
it's health and safety, mate.
They're worried.
It'll be health and safety.
But they're worried. They're more worried about themselves, really, and how it will reflect on them. They really don't even care about the firefighters or the people under them. They're more concerned about how it would look if XYZ happened.
Well, no, and you know what pisses me off the most about it, though? It's really because one of my fucking I went to school with him. He's one of my best friends. He is a wildland firefighter, and he was at the fire where those people burned that I was talking about. He just wasn't on the cut line, which is where they were, and the fire turned and they hunkered down and died. You don't need people fucking with them. Just leave them the fuck alone and let them do their job.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the best thing they could have done was shot it out of the sky, because then at least you get the ID. You might be able to track it back, purchase order and things like that. And then you could find out what cretin was doing it. But so it would have been a better idea to shoot it out of the sky.
I absolutely agree. We don't have to dwell on, just a stupid drone. I just thought I would tell that story real quick. So MC, you've lived in the Midwest and shit like that. You ever been through tornadoes? I think Dade already said he has.
I have never seen the actual funnel cloud.
I have lived through a lot of tornadoes. In fact, before MC, when I was about 14, we had a tornado down, and a tornado rolled through down. Is very. Oh boy, that's fucking something I've never gotten. Been 30 years later. It's just you see stuff like the movie Twister, and for us in the Midwest that we've lived through that, we look at that movie and like, you guys fucking suck. That's how this is how it's done, and it's scary as fuck.
I do know that from the sounds and stuff at night, I believe that one went over our house when I was growing up. And the damage done to the grove and everything else was pretty extensive. But to say that I actually saw the tornado, no, I've not actually seen a funnel cloud. I've always wanted to see one because I've never seen one. All the years that growing up, I never actually got to see an actual funnel cloud.
Yeah, I want to see it at a safe distance, though.
No, you know what's interesting?
That's true as well. I don't want to be anti-M swirling around in the freaking. I just want to be able to see it.
No.
Tornadoes are fun to watch.
You would be riding the bike. You'd be you'd be Mrs. What's her name that owns half the county.
But no, interesting though, MC. I'm pretty much the same way. When I was a kid, when we still lived in Arkansas or northern Louisiana, I'm not sure, but I guess I slept right through the goddamn tornado. It went over. It wiped out the house next door, went directly over our house while my mom held down the crib and fucking prayed to God, and then it wiped out the houses right after. So like tornadoes are insane, but I have seen a funnel cloud.
My God, you're Jesus. Do you realize what that means? You are the new Messiah.
I'm Jesus. There we go. Matt Dodge 2020. He's Jesus. We got a campaign slogan.
The quote whoever the fuck was that, I think that was that socialist John Lennon. You know, I've lived through a tornado. I'm bigger than Jesus.
But no,
tornadoes are fun to watch.
Well, no, and I was gonna finish up real quick with saying I have seen a funnel cloud. One appeared in Eugene, Oregon, about 2 years ago, and it was really weird because here in Oregon we don't get tornadoes, and we had a funnel cloud, and it didn't touch down or anything though. But yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, we don't get really any kind of major extreme weather. I mean, occasional, you know, like odd thing. Like there's, I remember when I was a student at uni, there was a hurricane that came in. But
this is how you beg for stuff like that to happen to you.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
yeah, but
right now, what you're doing is you're saying, hit me with the smite button.
You're tempting fate.
I said, smite me, God, smite me. Is that all you got?
You know, I've actually seen people get, you know, mouthy about that kind of shit. And I'm not saying it would happen to you, Cabbage, and I wouldn't want it to happen to you, but I have seen people here in Iowa, they would just say, oh, yeah, smite me, God, you blah, 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 blah. And literally a day later, I would run across them and say, what the hell happened to you, man? My house burned down. I was like, oh, way to go, smartass. Open your pie hole, didn't you? No, yeah, whatever.
Well, no, I have been through hurricanes. Well, I've been through 4 overseas and 1 in England. But no, I mean, we do get lots and lots of really shit weather. I mean, we get the equivalent of sort of hurricane, you know, winds, but nobody really thinks anything of it. I mean, 70-mile-an-hour winds are not that unusual over here when it comes to like winter or.
Yeah, not in Oregon either, Cabby. We have windstorms every year. We have really bad ice storms too, to where, like, no, and this is the tempting fate thing. This is funny. The ice storm had been here for fucking a week and a half, and I had told everybody I haven't fallen down yet. You know, I didn't slip on the ice, and then I walked out the goddamn door.
5 minutes later, smartass.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing over here. We can have, you know, 3 seasons in a single day. You know, you can have bright, beautiful sunshine, then you get snow, hail, and then you're getting a windstorm, and then next thing you know, it's back to, you know, beautiful blue sky again. I mean, it's because we live in a very weird place regarding the
weather. Well,
the weather patterns. You know,
it sounds like Oregon. I'm saying I would be right at home if you gave me my goddamn castle back. Anyway.
See, I've actually had that happen to myself last year. I mean, about 5 years ago, I broke my leg. So I've had ankle problems ever since, but, you know, I still work and do my thing. And last year in Iowa, we didn't really have much of a
brave little soldier.
I know. I'm so special. But last year in Iowa, in the Davenport area, we didn't have much of a winter. We had cold, but we didn't have much snow, and we had very little ice. And I said to myself, man, this whole winter is going to be a freaking breeze, and ain't nobody falling on any ice anytime soon. Literally the next day, we had a wind chill come in and just go in and out. Nobody had ice except for me on my driveway, and I found it and cracked my tailbone.
Yeah.
So I don't talk about this shit.
Shit will happen. It's true. Yeah, well, that's the thing, though, because shit always happens here because we have such weird weather anyway. You just know that there's something, you know, around the corner. It's just a matter of, you know, what and when. But no, take it for granted.
I am happy, though, that the hurricanes don't really hit the West Coast. We do get tsunamis. I mean, we have tsunami warning signs all over the coastline, everywhere. Like, this is the evacuation point and all that shit. Like, just...
Yeah, but like I said, you don't get the hurricanes, but you do get the El Nino effect. You know, I mean, how many mudslides and things? How many people have died because of the mudslides from, you know, the effect of El Nino?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in California, more so. Because the soil is so shit there. I don't know why.
Well, also, and morons build on the side of a fucking hill on stilts. You know, they deserve everything they get.
They cut out all the grass and everything else.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah, and then you wonder why.
They act surprised. Why is my house going down the freaking thing and into the ocean?
Yeah, and it makes what happened in Lethal Weapon 2 look like, a schoolyard brawl with damage-wise. It's kind of like, yeah, nice, whatever.
That
this
is my
why you can't
favorite
have
scene.
because you're stupid.
That is my favorite scene of Lethal Weapon 2.
The funny thing about that is they put that in Grand Theft Auto 5, but that's neither here nor there. It's just one of those things is you build stuff, you think that it's immutable from damage, and then it literally collapses right on their ass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it just...
Yeah. Well, Californians, tend to have a degree of arrogance. They obviously think that they can just wish that nature away. Because, electronics.
But, no, I mean, but when it comes to this, like, hurricane that's hitting, all right, first of all, you can't, I understand that, the wind speed's gone down. I understand that it may not be a Category 4 anymore, right? But it's still a dangerous storm. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, every year when we get a hurricane that's getting ready to hit the United States, the media will freak out to at least to some degree, talking about how it's the storm of the century. Right?
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that bothers me about all that is not that these things aren't dangerous and they should be warning people, and they should be telling people, get ready just in case this is bad. But they go past that point where they talk about how bad it's going to be and how bad it's going to be. And if for some reason, like, for example, and I don't expect this to happen because it's still very dangerous and where it is, but let's say that all of a sudden that pressure center that's holding it where it's at pulls off into the Atlantic, right, sucking basically the hurricane with it, and nothing more than the rain that we've seen so far is the result. Time after time when that happens, when the media has been hyping and hyping and hyping, people, they stop listening. It's the boy who cried wolf. How many times are you going to cry wolf, and then all of a sudden you're screaming about another one coming in, but you've done it so many times that people get ignored. That's my greatest fear.
Well,
is that all of a sudden people ignore these things as a result of this constant, oh my God, overhyped this and overhyped that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't this the equivalent of crying fire in a theater? I mean, that's what they keep doing it. It's like panic, 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 panic. That's all they're promoting is the panic, just purely for the ratings.
Right.
And it's that, and then they utterly blame Trump. It's like, why? What the hell did he do? I'm not defending our president. I'm simply making the logical conclusion from somebody who's like, dude, do you realize how insane you people sound? It is something that is out of your realm of control. So you blame somebody that is also out of your realm of control. Is that your logic about the whole situation?
Mm-hmm.
And it probably is, but it's kind of like, do you realize how utterly insane and stupid you sound when you say shit like this? And I don't think they do. But it's like, this is why nobody takes you seriously. And it leads back to what you were just saying about the crying, the fire in the theater so oftentimes. So when there's actually a fire, everybody's still there watching the fucking overpriced movie, eating their way overpriced junk food popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and
it's dangerous. I mean, the media is being counterproductive in that regard. They really are. That's why is the viewing.
But that's
William, by the way. William, shout out to William. How you doing, William?
Yeah, no, yeah. He said you have a nice bum, Cabbage. I don't know how
no,
he knows that.
No, he said I am. Oh, I do have a cute bum. All right, yeah. No, I thought you said I was a cute bum. I didn't see has. Okay, no, I'm taking that back. Fuck you, William.
That gives you a compliment. Yeah. You don't want to accept it.
Hashtag troll army. Anyway, I want to see a better response from FEMA if we're going to have them, or else we should just get rid of them and let the states handle it. You know what I mean?
We should get rid of practically every alphabet agency that exists for a reason, but no, they won't, because we got dipshit bureaucrats who are just thinking they can do whatever the fuck they want and that nothing will happen to them, and failing to realize that what starts with the average poor person will ultimately escalate and build up to their level and then come back 10 times harder, and they'll have nobody but the blame, and they'll still deny blame on themselves for their own stupidity and inaction. Fuck those guys.
But to be honest, if you really wanted to fix this, one of the regulations that prevents a real decent response is the Posse Comitatus Act. Repeal it. Let the military, when it needs to,
no, I think that's a slippery slope. I know why you'd like it, you fucking authoritarian twat.
No.
Yeah,
just
fascist.
Yeah.
Just say statist. Just say statist. Just handle it.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. The state is meant to invite them in, aren't they? You're meant to request assistance. I mean, that's meant to be how it, how it
Well,
happens.
no, and
even if they request assistance, you can't use it right now.
But why do we need FEMA when we have this thing called the National Guard, which every governor of every state has control over? Why don't they just do the evacuations?
Right,
why don't they do the rescue centers?
The National Guard does not have the resources of the United States military.
Yeah, but hang on. FEMA is part of the Office of Homeland Security, isn't it? As far as I'm aware. And that includes an awful lot of resources.
Well, monetarily, yeah. I mean,
well, monetarily, but they also have camps all over the country.
Yeah,
I mean, they are setting up those FEMA camps.
They and every time, but the problem with a lot of that comes down to look what happened in Katrina. They brought in a bunch of freaking housing units. All right, that
no trailers. You mean trailers, not
whatever.
It is trailers.
They brought in a lot of trailers, and they were all condemned. Okay, so that nobody could live in them again. It's the same kind of crap that happened when we left Fort Devens, when they drew down Fort Devens, and they turned over all this new renovated officers' housing areas over to the state of Massachusetts for low-income housing. The state of Massachusetts came in and said, this is all substandard housing, and they plowed it all under. Okay, that's the kind of crap that goes on when you start doing this kind of stuff. Because people are more interested in making frickin' political statements rather than actually helping people.
So why would you want to do Posse Comitatus? Because that would make it even more. It'll make it even easier.
And I'm not going to argue in favor of removing Posse Comitatus. There's no chance in that fucking happening ever. But that was my point, though, is they fuck it up every goddamn time. Kick it to the state. Tell, hey, South Carolina, there's a hurricane coming. Evacuate. Do your shit. Governor, how about you do your job?
What do you expect these states to do?
Seem. Well, I mean, what did they used to do before all this shit? I mean, they, presumably before all of this other bureaucratic horseshit was introduced, I'm sure the Carolinas and Florida and, all these other places, they did manage to get by. So I don't understand why it's not feasible now with all the additional resources which
the biggest
are
problem with it
effectively
is,
available.
The biggest problem is the people that are expecting somebody to do it for them.
I know. I saw all the videos, and everyone's boarding up their own houses. I don't see the government doing that for them. I see them, loading up their own cars and driving in their own vehicles.
They will always show on TV those people, but the reality is that there's more and more people who expect to have everything done for them.
Well, but that's Darwinism. Good, let them die. Fuck them. Seriously, you don't make sympathy for those sort of people. Fuck them. If they got no sense of self-preservation, then I mean, it's basic survival instinct, isn't it? If you've lost that, then you really are not going to be much of a, you're not even on the food chain at that point.
Can you imagine that these college kids that you see on these college campuses right now handling this? They're not even taught how to handle it.
Oh no, they'd be complaining, they'd be shouting at the hurricane about being triggered or something. Just shout at the hurricane.
Well, that's kind of the reason why I never am going to be able to retire, because of stupid ass kids like that. And it worries me that those type of people exist, and then there's types like my daughter who exist who actually are severely self-sufficient and self-reliant and they're going to get nothing but the middle finger from dipshits that will basically be bureaucrats in the long run.
Well, maybe if you can get them all to do a re at a particular harmonic, it might dissipate the hurricane.
Shout out to hurricane.
Well, no.
Wings of redemption.
Well, no, and since we're talking about natural disasters, I did bring up when we were on Discord all together.
What's that got to do with college?
What?
Natural disasters. Never mind.
Yeah, you lost me on that one. But no, I was talking about I was watching that show on the History Channel, Mega Disasters, and they showed Oregon. Actually, they showed pretty much my house, not where I live now, but before.
I can see my house from here.
No. They showed an earthquake. If an earthquake hits, all the natural earth dams we have, because we don't have real dams. They didn't build them with concrete here, okay? It's gravel. So an earthquake actually hits, those dams will fail, and the whole Willamette Valley is going to flood. It's going to be fucked.
You know, you don't really need much of even an earthquake. If the San Andreas Fault decides to be a dick and shift on a rather moderate scale, the entire West Coast is going bye-bye. That's something that people don't think about. And it's not an earthquake. It's if it decides to shift.
Interesting. MC or Tabby, jump in on that.
Well, I didn't know that they had consciousness. I didn't know that there was a decision-making process.
Where they decide, today.
Yeah, wait.
Over a little bit.
Well, yeah, no.
Okay, I'm taking a left. I'm taking a left here.
Hey,
who's got the map? You see, it's just that basically it's a lost hurricane. It's just something to find a restaurant.
You never know when they decide to say, I'm just gonna do this. Lex Luthor had the right idea. Fuck these guys.
Talking to the other fault lines.
Yeah, I finally saw Superman the other day. Lex Luthor was in the right. Let's do this.
It's time to get rid of humanity anyway. I'm tired of these freaking apes.
No, I was worried about the Yellowstone mega quake actually. Because it was showing, it was showing a lot of fucking activity, and it was looking like it might fucking blow. But then the volcano erupted in Hawaii. And now the Yellowstone problem has kind of cooled off. Like, it actually vented from Yellowstone to Hawaii. It's insane.
Yeah. It's like a zit being popped. You see, the Earth's got lots of zits. Very zitty.
But whether or not you have an earthquake or you have a shift or something like that, I mean, you're dealing with, when you talk about the San Andreas Fault, you talk about plate tectonics. And we do know that at some point in time it's going to shift. How fast it shifts and how much energy gets released at that point, we know that it's been building energy for a while, right? How much of an energy releases it's going to do over time is going to be the question. And if it shifts heavily, he's right. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be screwed directly along the West Coast.
Well, here's the thing that I want to add to that, MC, is a lot of people here in the Midwest, we're going to get it too, because everybody thinks, oh, we're in the Midwest, we're safe. No, dipshits. Iowa itself, the Mississippi itself, is very near, if not on a fault line. It all reacts together. What happens in one is going to be felt on the other, and Iowa itself would feel an earthquake or a very big vibration because of the shift, and people wouldn't know what the fuck to do. They would panic.
But the thing is, with Yellowstone, I mean, look at what happened with Mount St. Helens when that thing fucking blew up. You know what I mean? That was felt nationwide, and the effects were felt nationwide. So, I mean, these aren't...
Yeah, but the massive amounts of damage was still very localized.
Yes and no. I mean, the ash fell clear down here into Oregon, and it fucking blotted out the sky for, what, a week or some shit?
Okay,
I mean, it wasn't Krakatoa.
What was the damage?
How many people died in the initial blast? There's that damage.
No. Yeah, but that's all local. That's what I'm talking about. The damage remains localized. It's not that the effect isn't seen. Yeah, broader, but
I get it.
Okay, yeah, but I was saying that. But
you're saying it wasn't Yellowstone.
If Yellowstone went up, I mean, that's a much bigger. That's
well, exactly. The damage out there, the square. you know, that you're talking millions of square miles.
Which is why I say geothermal, the
fucker,
fucker, suck out the heat, make some use out of it.
Well, no, and we are messing around with HARP and cloud seeding and all this other stuff. Why aren't we trying to fix some of the
because
I don't
when
know,
you
the
try
plate
to do
tectonic
something
stuff,
like that, you can just as easily go, "Oops, well, I guessed wrong."
Yeah, and you would basically be preempting what is going to happen down the road. Even worse so.
It's like, oh, well, yeah, if we do
Like-
it like this city goes bye-bye. Well, we learned that now.
It ain't gonna
Thanks
be
for
a
the
Steve.
sacrifice.
It's not
Look,
gonna be a Steve Urkel. Did
no,
I do that? It's gonna
bullshit.
be nice job, dipshit.
No, bullshit. Look, I mean, if you did some geothermal around the exterior points of the caldera, you know, like around the actual perimeter, not on the, I mean, I'm talking about capping off fucking, you know, Old Faithful, right? I mean, if you take, you know, you use it, the worst that can happen is that you end up with an extra Old Faithful if it blows. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if it's going to blow, it's going to blow. And, you know, somebody drilling a few holes, you know, it's not even going to get remotely any effect whatsoever.
They've done studies that do exactly what you're talking about. The problem is that there's not enough water. They would have to bring in water from somewhere.
Yeah, but that's fine. But yeah, but don't forget the water is recycled. It goes up. I mean, you pump it down,
Right, but
it
you
comes
can't
up
use
as,
it,
and then
you've got to bring
and then
it
you
in.
put it back in the reservoir and cool it.
Well,
where would we get the water? That's the question.
Well, you know, you gather it over time, I guess. I mean, I'm sure it's not beyond the wit of man to be able to divert the stream
Oh
from
no,
somewhere.
it's
or,
not.
you
It's
know.
not beyond the wit. But then again, as soon as you start a project like that, okay, out come the environmentalists. Oh, you're gonna this
Fucking
protected
hippies.
species and that protected species, and this and that, and not in my backyard, and oh, it's gonna do this and it's gonna do that. You can't right now. Okay, there's a man-made lake called the Saltine Sea in California. Okay, and I say it's man-made.
Salty sea, well, that's appropriate.
No,
Salty.
Salton.
Okay.
I can't pronounce the dang freaking thing. It's Salton, Salton Sea. All right, and it was created when they were working on the Colorado River project. All right, as part of Hoover Dam and the other dams that were along the Colorado River. All right, and at one point, a levee broke and the Colorado River flooded in there and created this massive lake area. Okay. Well, since they finished everything, the lake has been slowly shrinking, and as a result, the natural salt that was in that area has been making this area, all right, more and more salty over time. It's going to be like a Dead Sea soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what they've done is there's been project after project after project proposed to actually connect it via a canal, all right, to the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
All right, to reduce the salt level to normal levels, and then have basically an area that's an estuary, you know, like a estuary, all right, for birds and everything that are currently there.
Yeah,
They
like
can't
salt
get
marsh or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't get any of that passed because of the environmental groups in California. Absolutely not. They can propose all they want. They can come back with plan after plan after plan, and then all of them get killed because of the environmentalists saying, "Well, you're going to have to dig up this area here.
Yes.
We got to protect up that area there." It's a travesty. It truly is a travesty.
But here's the great thing with
Fucking
you know
hippies.
with using geothermal. You know, I mean, the great thing is it's recyclable materials. You know, you take them out, you know, you pump them down, they evaporate, they bring them up, you condense them, you put them back down again. So you got a relatively low turnover of material. Plus, it doesn't take up a great deal of space, and it's renewable energies. So I mean, it should be everything that these fucking hippies want to hug anyway.
Right, but the fact is that you'd have to get water from somewhere, and as soon as you started a project like that, out they would come and they would put an end to it. I guarantee you.
Well, you could ship it in just in containers or something.
No,
you know?
and that's exactly why the whole entire but that's exactly why the West Coast is on fire, because they're like, no, logging companies, how dare you cut down trees? Because you know that's not your fucking job. And they don't control the fucking forests up here. They don't do controlled burns. That's why we're on fire every year. It's the goddamn hippies. I agree. Fuck them.
They've created.
No, it's probably the hippies going out into the forest and, you know, smoking joints and starting the bloody fires.
No, that's not the hippies. Every summer up here. No, every summer up here, all the homeless people from Eugene move up here. because we have free and open camping in our national wild, you know, our wildland or whatever, our forest. And so they all move up here. That way they can just live in peace and not be harassed by the cops. They end up, cooking food, having a fire, then suddenly the whole thing goes fucking up.
That's what Europe's been having, you know, with loads of fires, like especially in Greece. And, well, surprisingly, all the places where we have a lot of diversity. Because these fuckers just don't know how to work with it, you know? They don't know how to use matches. You know, they come out of a desert. They don't understand that, you know, if you drop a match or you throw a cigarette, they don't understand the, you know, the risks that are involved.
Well, they're not setting themselves on fire.
Exactly. Yeah, they come from one big, you know, fucking ashtray. They don't know what it's like.
I wonder who you're talking about. I can't tell what portion of the population you're talking about at all. Like, not a chance.
You chose to live in God's ashtray.
There you go.
Just think the Jews wanted to go back to it. Anyway.
I know. Yes.
You know,
there's the goddamn Jews.
I wanted to, anyway, shalom, MC. I forgot to say that. But no, in Arizona, do you guys have any of these issues? I think you have forest fires every once in a while in whatever brush you have.
That forest fire that you were talking about that killed those people happened here.
We had a forest fire.
You're right.
Here once.
That is right, yeah.
I remember a forest fire.
No, there are fires all around here. Every freaking year. The biggest thing though that kills people, to be honest, is just the desert. And generally we're killing Europeans. Because they go hiking in the desert, they get lost.
Yeah.
And then they die.
Yeah, you get a lot of English tourists who do that in Australia.
A lot of
you need a lot more people doing that. That would save us some problems.
Believe it or not, it's a lot of Germans. It's a lot. The Germans come out here. They go, I'm going to go hiking in the springtime here. In the springtime here, it gets up to like 90, 95
springtime
degrees.
For Hitler.
During the wintertime, it's fairly cool. But it's really a beautiful time period. You know, beautiful time. And people love to go up into these canyons and stuff and go hiking. Well, if they become disoriented and they get lost, they don't realize how fast they dehydrate because there is literally no humidity. They don't feel like they were sweating when, and the next thing you know, they're in a lot of trouble because their body needs water and begins to shut down. And
you have that in Egypt. I had that because, you know, it's such a dry heat. You're constantly just having to drink water, even though you don't think you do.
Yeah, you don't realize how dehydrated you are until all of a sudden the water's in front of you and you're drinking. You're like, oh my God, I got to drink another freaking 6 glasses. And this happens every year. We'll kill 2 or 3 European tourists that went up into the area, right, to go hiking.
I remember going back,
and then didn't come down at night, and rescue parties got to go up, and sometimes they find them alive, and unfortunately, sometimes they find them dead.
Well, no,
I'm not kidding. No. Well, there was one time in when I was in Egypt, and I went back to the hotel room, and I just felt, you just know that you're dehydrated. Like you say, you don't really feel it, but you just know you are. And I put the plug into the sink and just filled up the sink with water, and I was sucking it like a fucking camel. I'm not kidding you. I drank a sink full of water.
Well, no, and like first off, I thought you're not supposed to drink the water in foreign countries. But anyway.
No, it was okay. No, because it was a Western-owned hotel and it had the appropriate.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But when I was driving through Nevada one time, I'm driving down the road and I see this fucking guy. He's not hitchhiking. He's just walking, but he's got 2 fucking gallon jugs of water on him. He was just hiking down the fucking desert because we pulled over. We're like, dude, you're a crazy son of a bitch. Hop in. We'll drop you off in the next town. He's like, no, I do this for fun. Like, so that's the stupid idiots you probably have in Arizona too. Like, they're fucking morons.
Yeah, but those are the ones that at least understand the dangers, and they're rarely the ones that actually end up it's the tourists that end up getting killed. It really is the tourists.
What I say, it's Darwinism. It is. It's, you get the same thing in Australia with all the British tourists and the backpackers that go over, and they go out, they want to go and do walkabout. you know, because they've heard about walkabout. It's a great thing to do. You know, next thing you know, they got their face torn off by a, you know, drop bear, or they're dying out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, no, I lived in Apple Valley, so I know a little bit about the desert and snakes and all that. I was taught that when I was a kid. I was only like 6 or 7 years old, and I knew fucking better. These people are grown-ups. Like, shouldn't they know better?
Of course.
Yeah, but what, yeah, excuse me. What is classified as a grown-up these days? Because apparently, the people at university are still friggin' children. So I mean, fucking hell. What is the cutoff date now on somebody going from being infantile to an adult?
Well, I would say the cutoff time is age of consent.
Well, it should be if it was, you know, any common sense. But I mean, what is it now? I mean, what's the actuality? You know, your idea doesn't matter. What is real?
Oh, if we DM Christy Winters right now and ask her, she'll probably say 25 because they're fucking crazy. Like 25, really? I was on my own at 16. Like seriously, on my own. No, like no mom, no nothing. On my own, 16 years old, and you guys can't function as fucking adults at 25. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's absolutely astonishing. I mean, they're infantilizing kids, just people, for so long. I mean, as far as we were concerned, like, I mean, well, really, once you got past 16, you were expected to be competent enough to function as a human being. You know, you should be able to survive. You know,
absolutely.
18 is really the adult. You know, that's the adult status comes at 18. And then it's like, well, you're on your own. That's what I got told by my dad. You know, it's like, well, you're off to university. Well, you know, and I just sort myself out. You know, that was it. I mean, he helped me out with, you know, with the initial rent to get the first place to go into, and then that was it. I had to, you know, find my own job so I could pay my way through and stuff. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Well,
I mean, but you don't get that anymore. I mean, you got like 30-year-olds you got parents having to fucking sue their kid to throw them out of the fucking home.
Yeah, no.
You know, I mean, just a 30-year-old guy.
Well, no.
What is wrong? I mean, that's just weird.
I know you're on a rant, but Hammered Spud in the chat had a great fucking joke. MC, lead your people home. Why are you just letting them wander until they die in the desert?
Let your people go.
Hasn't it occurred to you that I don't like a lot of people?
He's thinning out the herd. He's thinning out the herd. Excellent. Yeah, quality, not quantity.
Well, so Patrick Little should love you then. I mean, God damn it. But no, it does.
Shalom, Spud. Shalom.
No, but it does really seem like natural disasters have increased lately. If you look at the Ring of Fire, there's been many earthquakes going on, even in the last 2 weeks.
No, hang on. No. Got to cut you off there, mate. Because you're saying natural disasters. You don't know how those fires started, and the chances are it was some cock.
No, I said I was talking about I was switching. I was talking about earthquakes and stuff. I was talking about how the actual Earth is starting to fucking react differently, and we're getting an increase, even by the statistics, of earthquakes, volcano eruptions.
Not really.
Hurricanes.
No,
not really.
If you go back, no, not really. No, if you actually
when you go back to our
go back and you look at the historical records.
Yeah, and what's more is you got to remember certain things. First of all, our ability to go back in history really means we can go back 100, maybe 150 years ago. All right, because
I mean the records are pretty scant.
All right, when we're talking about the United States, the records in Europe are different. I mean, if you're talking about England, you can go back and go records that go for literally 400 years. But past 400 years, you'd be hard pressed.
But all ours says is nothing happened.
Well, but it's more than what we have because we have literally nothing. Okay, so we have no way of judging. You know, when you start talking about the time frames of the Earth and how from a geological sense we can go back to the point of saying, we know there was a flood here. We expect that the flood happened around 500 years ago or 300 years ago, but we couldn't put a date to it. And to be honest, even the estimation that it's 400 or 500 years ago is quite iffy. All right, because of our knowledge is from a time frame perspective is literally so small. All right, we don't have the breadth and time to really know just what's going on with a lot of this stuff. And what you're seeing,
But MC, one thing,
Mad Dog, I can tell you right now, what you feel is what I have felt, and then I learned what it was, which is as you age, things seem to go faster and faster until you're recalling these events over a longer period of time, but you don't realize that, no, from a time frame standpoint, they're really not coming any faster. These things are happening about the same rate.
Well, and also, of course, you know, the news, you know, the way in which things are reported these days.
Yeah, that's
just never ending on the same topic, you know. So
yeah, that's another thing. Is all right. We've been talking about
it overinflates things.
Hurricane Florence. Now we've been talking about for how long? All right, it hasn't even hit yet, and we're talking about it being a major hurricane. In the 1960s, they wouldn't even know it hit. All right, until everything is being hit by the hurricane.
There you go. You'd be reporting on the disaster. You wouldn't be, you know, you wouldn't be postulating on the potentials and things like that. It just didn't happen.
So I think there's more of that than actual changes. That's not saying the Earth's not changing, because the Earth constantly changes. Yeah. It's just saying that our perspective.
But we are overdue for a big one. We're overdue for some kind of big event, though. We are overdue for a big event. You know, whether it's a Krakatoa or, you know, Yellowstone or
fate. God, if you're listening, he's begging for it. He wants it to happen in England.
That's right.
We don't need it here in the U.S.
No,
if you want a big one, please send it there.
God doesn't shit in his own doorstep, you know what I mean? This is God's land.
Let's send it across the channel and hit France.
That's right, exactly. You see, now that'll be okay. We could have a chuckle. We could watch it too. Sell popcorn and things, you know, hot dogs. Burger vans.
You want to shift stories now, Mad Dodge, to this new one?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go ahead. I was looking at the chat. Aaron's up in there. We have a melon in there, so there's that. The troll army has showed up with William. So, but yeah, that's what I was looking at. So go ahead and start the new story.
Okay, apparently, just very recently, there has been a massive gas explosion in Massachusetts, in the cities of Lawrence, Andover, and North Andover. There's multiple fires as a result of gas leaks. There's at least 39 homes now and businesses that have caught fire in the three communities. There's so many fires that you can't see the sky, says this Methuen police chief Joseph Solomon told the Associated Press in Boston. Right, they're trying to evacuate the residents. So it looks like a massive gas line massive gas fire has happened, and it's taken major areas across the wide spectrum. And state police and fire
investigators. Did you say it's coming from underground?
Yeah, well, these are.
Did you say it was coming from underground, though? Is it a fracking area? Is it like?
Well, no. Well, that's not. I don't think it's a fracking area. I think our gas lines, most, importantly on the eastern seaboard, Massachusetts, we're talking about, are old, and they need to be repaired. Our infrastructure is breaking down. And now, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's gotten so bad that.
Yeah, well, what's that thing in Pennsylvania? You got that. What was it? The perpetual fucking coal fire that's going on, and it's going to burn for like the next 1,000 years or something.
Well, that's where we go roast marshmallows when we're in Pennsylvania. It's all good. We're okay with that.
Yeah, there is.
You know what I mean? It's not like these are anything new. Yeah.
But in this case,
that's been going for what? I mean, it's been going for generations. And
yeah, but this fire is not a. This is not natural gas. I mean, well, it is natural gas, but it's gas. It's gas that's pumped into the houses. The houses use gas. And so it's a major fire across the board that's caused this. So basically, Like
So it's fracturing of the lines. Well, what's causing the fracturing of the lines?
Old age. They haven't been replaced. They haven't been maintained. That's what it looks like now. Now, theoretically, could it be something more?
So it's like the bridges collapsing and everything. It's just lack of maintenance.
Yes.
Okay, I get you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because things are so people because of what they've done have made things unnecessarily expensive. It shouldn't be that expensive to dig up an area, but now because of all the ridiculous regulations and everything they put in place, all right, it's so costly just to dig up an old pipeline and replace it. You know, it's just absolutely insane out here when it comes to that kind of stuff. You got to do an environmental impact study. You've got to do a housing study,
and
you've got to do a water study.
Get rid of the EPA, and you're done. You win. Then you can fix the infrastructure. Like you can fix this bullshit.
Well, it's a double-edged sword.
Get rid of the bureaucracy.
Yeah, no, he's right. You need to be aware of the bureaucracy. It's one of the reasons I was railing yesterday against the frickin' FDA. All right.
Yeah, but it's a double-edged sword. If you just get rid of it, then next thing you know, people can be dumping any old shite into.
That's bullshit. No, the free market will handle that. When you find out that fucking manufacturing, yes, they will. When you find out that manufacturing company is dumping chemicals, nobody will shop there. This is the internet age.
The EPA,
you act like we don't have power. We got fucking Trump elected. Not me, but the internet.
No, but this is the problem, man. You know, you say the people will act, but they don't. They'll bitch and moan and things like that, but they won't actually act about anything. And this is how you end up with regulations. It's because people don't act.
No, you don't need the regulations, though. That's bullshit. No.
Yes, but the regulations come in because of the failure of people to act.
But it's not because of a failure of people to react. It's a reaction, right, to a disaster. Yes, there's a lot of things that people. We as human beings learn from mistakes, okay? And sometimes people don't think that a mistake is going to happen, or they don't think something is a mistake until all of a sudden a major disaster, a dam breaks and kills 50 people, and so forth. And then they realize this was a mistake. The problem then comes back was when people overreact and say, well, I'm going to stop all these things from happening in the future. Because there's no possible way to do that in all cases. And you can get to the point where you're making regulations to make things safer that don't make things safer. For example, but that's what. But I understand what you're saying. But where we're at currently is where you've got to put 12 different freaking stickers on a step ladder that says "Don't freaking step in the wrong spot."
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
You didn't need that to begin with, and now we've got to have so many stickers on these things as a result of exactly what you're preaching is necessary, which is regulation.
I'm not saying you need it. I said it was a direct result of the fact that people might bitch and moan and stuff, but they don't actually act, because if they acted at the beginning, then the EPA wouldn't have a foothold, or regulatory bodies wouldn't get created, because it would have been resolved at the beginning, and therefore it would have done. Right? Because the only reason these bodies get introduced is because of failure.
Past that point. We are at the point now where people are making regulation after regulation because they can and because they're a bureaucrat.
Well, exactly.
If you take a look at the EPA right now, the EPA has mandated MTBE. And this is something else that I mentioned. Right? If you look up what MTBE is, it's supposed to be an additive to fuel, all right, to reduce smog. In reality, though, what it does is it reduces smog by basically reducing your mileage per gallon. So essentially, it doesn't do any of that. It's still the smog is still produced, just not at the same rate, all right, as the car goes, because you've lost efficiency in the engine. All right.
Furthermore, it's a bit like what VW did, wasn't it? They got caught out for that.
In an odd sense, but yeah. Now, there's been study after study, and even the EPA's own study admits, this is what's happening. It's not really helping things. The EPA, however, refuses, all right, to change that standard. we still have, that's what causes us to have a summer blend of gasoline and a winter blend of gasoline.
No, and it's bullshit. And you just go back to the fucking, like, there's a reason people still have a 69 Camaro. Just throwing it out there. It fucking worked, okay? The engine worked. The car is good. It's not that inefficient, really. And the EPA itself is just throwing these regulations out there because they feel like it's their job. That's not your job. What about Flint, Michigan, you fucking cunts? Why didn't you fix that shit?
You don't want clean air and water and
fucking memes. Go ahead, sir. Give me the other argument. I'll go ahead and let you.
No. The EPA should be doing its job, which is like reasonable regulation.
Exactly, it should be
on a smart scale. Well, those seem like procedural improvements that we can.
We're already past the point where they're no longer doing that. In fact, before they even came into being, they were past that point. It's the same problem with that you've got with OSHA. By the time they actually create the quote unquote agency to quote unquote do this, there's already other agencies and other things that the states have done to do this anyway. It's totally unnecessary.
And there used to be some U.S. water sources that would catch on fire.
Yeah, but that's always happened. That's not unusual. That happens in lots of places.
No. I meant like there was a lot more heavy pollution. Even the Merrimack River near me. They say you can swim in it. In more recent years, there's extra runoff.
Those were being cleaned up by the states before the EPA got involved.
Oh, well, that's fine. Why don't they just work with them?
Because the EPA is in charge now.
Oh, well, they should help the local municipalities, or at least the states.
I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Great.
What if folks would ask for programs?
What if folks get off their horse and drink the milk?
Exactly. Hey, cabbage. Just do not forget.
You know what, though, memes? I'm going to let you play the centrist. Go for it. But the thing is, with the EPA, that shit can be busted down. He's not playing centrist. Are you shitting me? That could be busted down to the goddamn states, and they could fucking regulate it themselves.
When has
the goddamn motherfucking free market can. If you fucking see somebody dumping toxins into the water supply, you arrest them. That's it. You don't need an EPA agency to say, "Oh, you have 10% fucking toxins. You're 1% over the limit." What?
Well, with social media and broadband and stuff, we can like actually point those things out if somebody's doing shady shit, right?
Exactly.
Really? You can point that out. I tell you what, Meme. Why don't you sit up here and talk about what are safe levels of arsenic, and take that to Twitter and see what kind of response you get.
I think it will not be good. Because
how did you ever call this cunt a centrist?
All right,
this cunt is not a centrist.
Well, you've got this. We got a situation right now where they want levels of arsenic that have not even existed in reality in all of humanity.
Well, no, and Jacob and the or Joshua, Joshua in the chat said, didn't the EPA dump a whole lot of waste into a lake or river not long ago?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they fucking did.
Yeah. Well, they flushed out a mine, I think it was.
I hate to be the Willy Wonka meme here, but tell me again how they fucking help.
Yeah, no, it's because they dumped in a whole bunch of water into a mine without realizing what was in the mine, and apparently people have been dumping shit into that mine for years. And so they were dumping water into a mine, and so that ended up into the groundwater. Because they didn't bother doing the testing, you know.
They knew what was in that
consequences.
Mine. No, Cabbage. They knew what was in that mine.
Really?
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, that's
really.
Well, I mean, then that is just reckless.
Are you sure they just didn't pay for the site survey? Because that seems like a method of saving money.
They were the ones that ordered the release of the water. And people were warning them not to do it, and they said, we're the EPA, you have to listen to us.
Memes, I have to call you out on this. A method of saving money. I can save a shit ton of money right now, and the EPA. Bam.
You could.
I've talked with folks that was their job. They were to go out there and do site surveys. Here's the thing. It's one of those jobs where it's like, well, yeah, maybe you don't really need it so many times, but on certain times like this, it fucking matters.
Tell me again how the EPA helped Flint, Michigan. Please explain that to me.
Yeah, or
They
Detroit.
didn't.
Oh.
Water.
Well, are there any
Detroit-
regulations on the
Detroit
books
water
that
supply.
were not being followed? Like upkeep, maintenance?
Dude,
Because if you're gonna do anything, you just have like standard maintenance checks and grids and stuff like that. That's how you prevent that shit from happening. You identify it.
We are talking about a fairly large city population. So the water supply got contaminated. Who runs the fucking water supply in that city? The city does. Who has to fucking comply with the EPA? The city does. Who probably showed up all the time and just fucking checked it off and said, fuck it? The EPA did. Dude, you can't convince me, man.
Did the EPA actually do inspections? Because they recently swapped over to a different supplier. And those arrested.
The EPA, hold on, did sit up there and say that Flint, Michigan, this is a Superfund site. We need to sit up there and fix it. And then their concentration was, we're going to go after fracking because we think fracking is bad. And they jerked all that money away that could have been used on that so they could go after fracking, so that they could sit up there and do things like try and pump gas underground into a water main so that they then could light it on fire and take that, all right, over to a jury and say, look, the place is on fire. It's leaking gas from fracking.
Wait, hold on. There's video of them putting gasoline into the ground. There's
not
evidence.
Gasoline, but gas, not gasoline, gas.
So this would have been prosecuted because it sounds like a crime.
Oh, but what a surprise! The liberal judges decided they didn't want to carry on a prosecution against them.
What is the level of evidence for that?
There's a lot of level of evidence. They've actually look it up, memes. You'll find it. This is the kind of crap that goes on with the EPA because they themselves are an unaccountable group of freaking eco-Nazis, for lack of a better term. They have stopped. There are mines here around in Arizona and around Tucson that have been trying to sit up there and get permission to start mining again. They've gone through all the different studies. They've gone through all the different things. And what happens, the game that the EPA has been playing, is they say, well, we need an environmental impact study. So they do an environmental impact study. They give all the information to the EPA. The EPA doesn't make a decision. They say that they're looking at it. It's going through the bureaucratic process. Oh, I'm sorry, but you're past the deadline. You've got to sit up there and submit it again. I cannot tell you how many times they have to do this.
Oh,
all right?
That's a bureaucratic nightmare. No.
It's not a bureaucratic nightmare. That is a group of people, all right, that are refusing. They're not acting as stewards. They're not acting to make sure things are going correctly or trying to prevent things. They've already determined that any kind of mining is wrong, and they'll do everything they can to stop it. The EPA is not in the business of helping people. It's in the business of getting in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually 100% agree with MC for once. He's fucking spot on, man. The EPA is garbage.
You guys really don't like the EPA.
Eliminated. No, we don't.
When the EPA has its own freaking study that says MTBE, which is a carcinogen, okay, still has to be utilized, even though it has literally no effect that it was supposed to have. What am I supposed to? Why shouldn't I freaking hate the EPA?
Hey,
okay,
it's Turner Frog's Day, right? We all know that. No, MC. Well, you know, this is the difference. I mean, MC he hates everything that isn't surveillance or intelligence or somehow getting into your business.
Yeah, I only agree with him half the time.
MCI. Back when I was in tech ed in the 5th grade, we played this, and it used actual physics when you were launching your shots over to destroy your enemy's cannon. And the MC's just doing that with like modern cybernetics and stuff. He's like, when I blow up 40, just a simulation. It's okay.
It's nothing like that. No, it's nothing like that. You're delusional.
But no, I believe over-regulation is a problem anyway. I believe the free market could fix this. That would be the solution. And if you really don't trust people that much, then move to China, because that's where they control everything.
Well, I mean, the thing about the EPA, and I just have to say 2 words about it. Or no, 3 words. Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeehaw!
yeah. We're gonna get the dome. That's what's going on. Okay.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, I'm not seeing this case reference, MC. If you had a link at all, but then again, I am
Yes.
searching Google, so I mean, I don't know. Is there a bias? A lot of folks were getting ready to cry when Donald Trump was elected, I guess.
The Googles.
Well, everybody.
Where's
Well,
that?
try DuckDuckGo. Don't use Google. Try DuckDuckGo instead of Google.
I only use the Googles.
Me too. But, you know, other people are stupid. And
I use
don't learn.
Google. I use Google because it's just fucking bam, and you know, it's easier.
I used to use something fetch, which was like it was kind of like DuckDuckGo.
Oh, do you guys remember Ask Jeeves? I remember that website.
No,
Dude, that
I
was
use
often very accurate on its numbers of subjects, dude. I was all of a dogpile type of guy.
I got the I used to work with Cha-Cha for a while. I was one of the people that would answer the questions.
But no, we're talking about
You were
natural
sharp.
disasters, and now the EPA, and the fact that no, and that's the thing, memes. I'm a little surprised about your reaction here because it's your damn state that is blowing up because of a gas line, and like you're telling me the EPA should regulate. Didn't they regulate that? Why are you on fire, dude?
What? Fires happen, dude.
Gas line bursts and explosions like this do not happen every day. Don't give me that shit.
Oh no, shit fucks up. We also got a $19 million 17-year tunnel that leaks.
Well, okay. So Massachusetts is just
We don't always spend our money wisely, however. Mitt gave us a bit of a slush fund.
Well, no, I'm just wondering, should we just give up on Massachusetts just like California? Like, you know, fuck you guys. Like,
hey, we're an OG state.
Now, the one thing about this memes that I put in the side chat here with NTPE is remember, this is an article written by the Sierra Club.
Oh, yeah, and they're not biased at all. That's like the World Wildlife Fund or fucking PETA website. Yeah. Fuck.
You caught me off guard there, man. Yeah, I was just drinking.
Are you serious that you don't know who the Sierra Club is?
I think I've seen them when I've flown with Delta.
The Sierra Club is the largest environmental freaking pack, if you want to talk about it, or environmental group, or activist group.
Yeah, and they got a fetish
or lobby group is a better way of putting it in the United States.
Would it make sense if they had inserts on the back of Delta planes? I think
they've got a big fetish for it's for owls. They're always fucking writing about owls.
I like owls.
Yeah, well, so do they apparently.
Yeah, but owls aren't really all that endangered. It's kind of like the wolves. They're like, oh, they're so endangered. You know why? Because you guys moved them from their actual territory. Now that you moved them back, like they're moving timber wolves back to Oregon, and now the packs are getting so big that the ranchers have to fucking shoot them. They're not really endangered. You're just fucking with nature. Knock it off. Leave it alone. You dumb fucks.
Well, I mean, you shooting a wolf is also fucking with nature in technical sense, you know.
Well, if the wolf is eating my fucking cow, then I'll shoot the fucker. But I don't have that problem. Yeah.
You have a cow? When did you get a cow? You didn't tell me.
I don't have
cow.
No, I don't have a cow.
I don't have a cow, man.
Oh, actually.
Thanks, Bart.
You know what? You brought up well, no, you brought up
MC. Where is it saying the EPA was spiking the water supply?
Can we call it EPA? Can we call it EPA?
Well, no, EPA. Yeah, we can call it EPA for now on. Yeah, but no, you brought up that mountain lion. I believe because mountain lions have about a 300-mile range of where they prowl. Somebody got killed in Thurston about 3 or 4 days ago by a mountain lion. I think it's.
I'm just interested in your cow,
the,
mate.
I think it's the same motherfucker that was in my backyard. I think it's the same.
I'm interested in your.
I don't have a cow.
Illusionary. Exactly. Yeah. So why are you deluding yourself?
No, I was talking about the ranchers. I was talking about the goddamn ranchers. And I even said that I don't have that problem, which means I don't have a fucking ranch. But you said your cow.
No. You said you had a cow.
Oh, God.
I heard you say you had a cow.
Fuck you, Cabby. Fuck you.
I want to see this cow. You think? I think you're the new ogre. He's got chickens. You got cows. I want to see the cows.
That was a little bit harsh, my friend.
I want to see this elusive cow.
But no, okay.
If you don't have a cow, buy one now, just to have one.
No, don't have a cow, man.
Yeah, have a cow, man. He's gonna have a cow.
No,
is that the new thing?
He's gonna go. He's gonna go full Bart Simpson. He's gonna go Bart. He's gonna do the Bart man.
Well, what you need is a good sheep that will push back whenever they're on the edge of a cliff.
I still want him to get a cow.
Oh well, then yeah.
We're gonna have to crowdfund you a cow now.
God damn it, dude! Calm down with the cow.
At least it gives you have milk.
We call it a cow starter.
Yeah. Cabbage.
Cow starter. There we go. Yo.
Whenever I do get this farm that I'm planning, I am going to get a cow, and I'm going to name it Mad Dodge, just for
Excellent.
Just for you.
Thank you.
Dude, when if and when Mad Dodge comes to harvest,
I'll be able to die happy.
And
you could literally
also, yeah, I would make sure that everybody here could have a piece of him.
You could literally make JQ's dream come true, and he could actually eat something named after a person.
There you go. Yeah, but you don't know, because he's a bit freaky. You don't know what he's done to that cow. You don't know how abused that cow was, what kind of lifestyle it's had. I mean,
well, you know what?
I wouldn't trust you with
actually, as a matter of fact, it's going to be a bull, and I'm going to send you the dick.
You see, I rest my case.
I'll petrify
that poor thing's going to be abused.
Out of it, you bastard.
Well, no,
what Cabbage is not admitting is he would boil that and eat that up.
Okay, no, I'm gonna get this back around, kind of on topic here. Do you think the World Wildlife Fund is as bad as the Sierra Club, MC?
It's the same sort of thing. It's exactly the same.
They destroyed the WWF.
They did take out the WWF. That's true.
I know.
They're the same sort of mentality, put it that way. Well, Prince Philip is the head of the World Wildlife Fund, and he's a mental case. He said he wanted to come back as a virus. Remember, Prince Philip. Prince Philip said he wanted to come back as a virus to take out half the, and he's the head of the fucking World Wildlife Fund. So you make up your own mind about that. Yeah. So.
Well, no, I was asking because I kind of feel like they're the same as PETA. Like they're just fucking delusional. I mean,
they're
really
radicals. Yeah, they are. They're radical environmentalists. They are.
Which, and if you remember, there was the Weather Underground, and radical environmentalists have blown shit up before. That helped the environment, I'm sure.
Oh, just like the Teen Titans, and how one of the comics that they were fighting Ra's al Ghul.
Well, actually, if it was a fertilizer bomb, it could have worked. I mean, I actually might have fertilized some land, you see? Yeah, see? Organic bombs.
Cabbage.
What?
No more truck bombs.
Yeah, but it's a truck of peace. It's a food truck.
It's a food truck of peace.
But yeah, Ra's al Ghul, he was basically creating an area where there's like a lot of different species and stuff were extinct, plant life and everything. What do Teen Titans do? Destroy all of it, and then say, okay, we helped them out, guys. And even Al Ghul goes like, you guys are idiots. You just destroyed so many different plants and everything.
But
You know?
Beast Boy can mimic them.
Oh, a fucking straight Sith mail in the chat goes, you don't step on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. And most of all, you do not call Mad Dodge a Yankee. I agree,
Yes, we
sir.
do. No, he's a rounders playing Yankee. He's a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Oh,
Yankee Doodle Day.
so I'm Babe Ruth, in other words. That's
There
what
you go. See? You're digging your hole for yourself, mate.
Wow. I've been doing that a lot lately, actually.
Yeah, you have.
I've been having a tendency to kick some beehives. Yeah, just kick the beehive and see what happens. God damn. But no,
Yeah, just make sure you don't throw pine cones at the
Take gas,
beehive.
buddy.
Pine cones? No, dude. I'd go out there with a can of fucking spray paint and a lighter, and I'd handle that shit.
Oh, don't lie. We know you go out in a wizard's cape and cloak and you throw fucking tennis balls.
I did not have either of those things. Maybe a few tennis balls hit, and I threw pine cones, and I would so do it if I had a cape. And Zero, I did not know you were a raccoon.
You are such a freak.
So
I
Wolverine.
bet you go out. I bet you he plays Quidditch.
Oh, those are good too.
These freaks.
Oh yeah, but less tasty.
Sorry.
Shut up, Mad Dodge. Fuck you in that movie.
No, Red Dawn is a good fucking movie. Let's have that.
The original.
Come on, Zero.
The original.
Bring it.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about that movie. I fucking hate both versions. They both suck.
No, the original was okay, but I mean, it was paranoia. I mean, it was a paranoid sort of delusional film. But I mean, you know, in terms of the action and things like that, if you don't take it too seriously.
Why never take anything with Charlie Sheen too seriously?
Well,
Right, look at
good advice. Good advice. Actually, I haven't watched Apocalypse Now for quite a while.
Now, see, Martin
check
Sheen,
that
on
out
the other
again.
hand, I do take seriously. Unless it's Spawn. We don't talk about that movie.
Well, what about Emilio Estevez? My
Spawn
favorite
was not
movie.
good.
My favorite movie is Young Guns 2. I love the first
You
one
have
too.
no,
also,
you have no
but-
taste then.
Seriously, honestly,
Oh.
you don't help yourself when
Reap-
you make these
Reap the
admissions,
whirlwind,
you know?
bitch. Reap it.
Honestly, yeah.
Hey, let's not
Honestly.
forget. Korn is a good band.
Who?
Corn.
No, who exactly?
Wait, what's
Okay,
what's
you
on
know what
second?
though? No, Zero and calling you on this shit. What's your favorite fucking movie?
I will.
What's my favorite movie? I honestly don't have one. I think I've grown to a point in my life where every movie that I watch, I try to find some value in.
He despises them all equally.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But,
milk in that one.
I would say if I had a favorite Emilio Estevez movie, it would probably be Repo Man. Or
Shit! I forgot.
or,
I forgot about Repo
Maximum
Man.
Overdrive.
That's a good fucking flick. Yeah.
Well,
well,
if anybody's
no,
going to come up with Repo Man, what about Repo the Genetic Opera?
Clockwork
shut
Orange.
up with that shit.
Clockwork Orange.
Anybody
Clockwork
enjoyed
Orange.
that?
No,
See, the thing
nobody
is-
enjoys that because nobody knows what that is except me, and I deny it.
Clockwork Orange was a great movie, but it's not fun.
But why did
But it's
Emilio
legit.
Estevez go from being at the top of his game to disappearing and hasn't been in a movie since? Like he's fucking gone.
Self-preservation.
No, I think it was a
Oh.
hashtag me too. I
don't-
think
don't
he had
wanna
an
oversell
experience
it.
with Harvey
Emilio
Weinstein.
Emilio Estevez went out of the spotlight because of literal self-preservation. He does things behind the scenes, and with the way his brother behaves, I wouldn't want to be part of that either.
That's what I was getting at, right? It was like, did he see Charlie melting down? And he's like, no, I don't want this. And he fucking left. Why he still had, $20 million. Like,
Martin Sheen, the father, is actually a better actor than a lot of people give credit for when he's not talking politics out of his ass like everybody else in Hollywood. And I think that Emilio is good, but he's not on the same level as his father. No disrespect to Emilio. I love his work. And I think he has seen the way his brother behaves, and it's like, there is something there to, I don't want to be associated with this, because siblings do that. If they have one sibling who acts like a complete asshat, they're like, I disassociate, this person. And usually and a lot of people are like, that's a very high school thing to do when you have a younger sibling as a freshman and you're a senior. But there's a reason for that. It's because Charlie Sheen has acted the way he's acted. Emilio gets embarrassed by association, and I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, I don't think the guy's got any worries. He's got plenty of residuals coming in. I mean, it's not like.
Oh, you know what though? Why didn't nobody bring up Mighty Ducks? That's the only reason I give a fuck about hockey at all. Is the Mighty Ducks movies?
Quack,
growing up.
quack, quack.
Yeah, the flying V.
Nobody else is retarded. Nobody else is retarded.
Basically, nobody else is retarded enough.
Yeah.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing is, those movies are not overly bad. I think they are probably one of the last good sets of Disney movies that really were feel-good movies, even if they had a very predictable formula, which they do, and that really was a 90s thing, to be honest. But they're of their time, but at least you can go back and watch those and get a kick out of them, and either being from the 80s and 90s saying, oh my God, we did that, and have a chuckle and share it with your kids, as opposed to a lot of modern Disney movies, which are really preachy.
Well, I like Slapshot. You see, that was a good film. Slapshot was funny as fuck. That was hilarious with the two freaky twins. I bet most people don't remember it. It's a fucking brilliant film.
I have seen Slapshot.
It had Steve McQueen in it. Yeah,
no,
but that was like an 80s thing, though. Paul Newman, sorry, that's exactly it. Yes.
Ah, damn, you're supposed to know that movie?
I know. Yeah. Like I said, I like watching stuff. I don't remember. I don't remember celebrities, mate. I'm not into celebrity gossip and all that shit.
Well, I remember Paul Newman because I keep thinking of Salad.
Salad, yeah, he's dressing. Yeah, that's what I need to do. There we go. Okay, that'll fix it in my head now. That's what I needed. I needed an anchor for who it was.
You needed salad dressing.
Right. Paul Newman salad, right? And I can imagine because they were fucking vegetables, those twins. So that's good. That'll work. That's in my mind mansion.
I think in all seriousness, everything is relative to who likes what. I was at work last night, and I thank Christ have so much time built up I can take a week off if I want to. They started playing music in the middle of the I work in print and distribution. They started playing music. And I said, what the hell is this? And they go, oh, we're playing music to boost morale. And I go, we're a print shop. We don't play music. Well, yeah, the upper management thought it would be a good idea. And I'm like, the upper management is full of idiots. And my boss, who is upper management, says, oh, Dade, do you think we're idiots? I said, yeah, pretty much, since you guys sit in offices all day and I'm the one who has to deal with you guys bitching about everything that goes on underneath me. And they said, well, what do we got against music? And I said, music is the third highest, and I would say movies are most definitely fourth, that of all the things that cause conflict and strife within a casual conversation, it is in this order, I said to him. I said, politics, religion, music, then movies, because nobody can ever agree and everybody gets easily offended if pissy about stuff. And he goes, well, what do you think we should play? And I said, well, considering our policy is that we don't play any music because we have to listen to the machinery to make sure that if it has a breakdown, we can fix it within 5 minutes and keep production going. None. And, of course, I had everybody pissed off at me, and I said, this is why I don't give a shit, and I take days off once every other week so I don't have to listen to your whining.
You're just a killjoy.
I am. But when we're dealing with, a couple, $50,000 print machines that need to be watched, and they're running easily 100,000 pieces of printed property per hour, I don't have time to be, Mr. Jokey Joke. I mean, I can take, I can get spoofed on. Like when I'm with you guys, I can take a riffing, but when I'm at work, that's not what I'm getting paid for, and they don't like it. And I'm saying, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, fair enough. It's your opinion.
I
and
agree
You're
with
perfectly
that.
entitled to your opinion. That seems fair.
Because
But
whenever I was working at a
still,
factory, I was pissing people off too.
yeah, but you know, I mean, I thought you meant it was like out in the showroom or something. But you're
No,
talking is actually
it's
in the
literally
presses
print.
themselves.
No, it's literally print and distribution where we have Time Warner as a client. And
Oh
yes, I'm
God,
talking.
Time Warner.
Yeah, I'm talking Warner Brothers, Time Warner, print and
Yeah.
distribution mailing.
Time
That
Warner
kind
But
of
should
you're
go
stuff.
probably
fuck
obliged
itself
to.
as a
So what?
company.
You end up going in. It's like you got the fucking. You've got the seven dwarves whistling you into work.
I wish, because at least the
It'd be
shift
fine.
would go by faster between 11 and 8 a.m. But these machines that are easily $50,000 that print out 100,000 pieces minimum per hour, if they have a malfunction or if they jam, we have to listen for a little beep, 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 beep. And if they're playing music that is literally 20 decibels above the machine, which drowns most of the machine function noises out, then how the hell are we supposed to do our job? Well, it's to boost morale. And they go, that doesn't mean shit when a $50,000 machine breaks down, you dumbasses.
Are you kidding me? There is no visual signal as well.
Well, there are,
and
there are. Well, Cabbage, there is, and we train people to literally stand by these machines and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do while they're walking up and down this pathway, making sure that the paper gets put in, printed properly, and then gets sorted out through what is called an accumulative burst fold maneuver. Because in which basically cuts it, separates it, and then folds it.
Yeah, but that's got fuck all to do with the you know, the beat 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 thing and the music.
Could you do it with a series of mirrors for the blinky light?
I wish. The reason that we can't, the reason that we actually have the rule of why there is no.
Why do you have it like,
is,
you know, there should be one like, you know, one of those things that they used to have in the old submarine. You know, woohoo!
Yeah, I wish. Yeah,
you know,
I
when
wish.
it goes
Yeah,
down. I mean, why not just tie it?
Putting
like
in
that?
a siren.
But I wish. But the reason that we have
the paper machine is down. The paper machine is down.
Guys, seriously, the reason that we have that is because, unfortunately, IBM Rico is relatively on the stupid side, and they leave the beeping at such a low tone that, and of course, we do have to wear, you know, foam earplugs. We can barely hear it, which is why we do have to keep an eye on the machine. And if we didn't have to deal with that stupid little beeping noise, because we, you know, again, we do keep an eye on the machine, I wouldn't care if we listened to music. It wouldn't be a big deal because we are visually keeping an eye on the machine and the print press making the product, as opposed, and we know when something's going to happen because we see it visually jam. But it's their rules. It's the way they set it up for the distribution, and it's completely counterproductive and contradictory.
I'm just thinking about how you can have your music and you can also still manage and monitor your.
Well, no, why?
I don't see it's that difficult, right? It's only a circuit where it's just a relay that goes. You know, you could put that to a solenoid, and that could get the whole fucking place flashing. You get some boogie. You get boogie down. While the music's playing.
So what my point was, if we didn't have to listen to the beeping, listen for the beeping, which is, you know, which is actually about 5 decibels lower than the machine, what it makes itself, I wouldn't care about if they had overhead music of any kind, because we wouldn't have to listen for that one stupid tiny little beep. But unfortunately, that's within the guidelines, and it's outdated, to be honest, and we have to deal with that, and it's completely stupid.
Just replace the beat with an awooga. You need an awooga.
Yeah, we do. We do need that old school awooga horn. Now, if it was out in if it was out in the other part of the distribution where they actually do the separation and the mailing, they don't have to worry about that beat. But in the print shop part of, they do have to listen to it. So while they have it playing on a general speaker overhead everywhere, yeah, one part's fine. I don't care. But when, you know, you've got my guys and they're doing 5 other things and they're trying to focus on this task and this task and this task while listening to hear, you know, keep that beep, you know, that little beep, if in case there's a malfunction, they can't hear it because of the music. Well, that screws up production. We lose we get behind on our set schedule, and then clients like Time Warner can say, "Oh, by the way, because you didn't meet the part of the contract that you agreed that you could print out per week, we pull the contract. Yeah, thanks. We don't need the music in the print shop."
But that's what I mean.
No,
but you know, like electronically,
I ran a CNC machine.
That is like this is like a 50-cent adaptation that you need to that $50,000, $100,000 printing machine.
Well, no, and Cabby,
it would be
Cabby,
difficult to upgrade it.
Real quick though, I ran a CNC machine. That was my goddamn job, and my boss let me have my laptop in there and run music the whole time while I was doing it. I still had to look for you know, audio cues as well. I still had to watch out for that bit breaking and flying across the room and stabbing, you know. Like, but you know, we're adults and maybe we can handle it. That would be my point.
You had an open CNC machine?
Yeah, we did. Actually it was so shitty that I would have to lay the plastic down that's already molded from the vacuum from the oven. And I would have to get up there and screw it down. Sometimes I would have to get up there as the motherfucker is moving and hold it down. OSHA would have shut those bitches down if they saw what happened.
Really?
Like,
machines are usually enclosures.
That's the difference, Mad Dodge, between where I work and where you did work is they wrote these rules into compliance years ago, and technology has changed to such to where we can still communicate and keep things visual and not have to worry about the beep, but they don't want us to. And then they contradict themselves and say, well, you know, we think you're adult enough to handle music, but we're still going to treat you like kids because you still need to pay attention for the beep. And it's kind of like, look, if you just let people have music at their little station, everybody can listen to whatever they want. They can still effectively communicate without problems, and you don't get anybody bitching about any kind of music, the decibel levels or anything of the sort. But they don't think that far ahead. They're not that intelligent.
Why don't you guys just use earbuds?
Well,
it won't let us.
You could get like a 50s diner thing going on. Like at each of the, you know, the points, you get like your little 50s, you know, Art Deco little
Cabbage. They're not that intelligent. They don't think that far ahead. They think that what they come up with is a great idea, and when it's like, look, this, you know, if it's in shipping, it's fine. If it's in print where we have to pay attention to these $50,000 machines, it doesn't work because of your rules that you set down originally. Make up your fucking, you know, pick a lane, Grandpa. That's what it turns out to be. And me being a manager, it's like, I don't have time to deal with this shit. I've got to get these guys to work to get out these X amount of pieces per machine per hour, or we lose our contracts and we lose our jobs. Fucking upper management who sit in offices all day, as you guys know about this kind of stuff, they don't come to the distribution or print floor, or let's just call it the factory floor, and deal with the hands-on stuff. That's completely different, and they don't think about that.
It's a class system.
Did anybody invite them?
Yeah, they get invited all the time. In fact, we have at least one upper management come down who's a very nice person, and she will before she starts her shift, walk through the entire plant, which takes about 45 minutes, and double check everything. And she will write down little notes of like, is this machine working? Is this machine? No. Don't. Cabbage, I'm asking you not do that. And she will, you know, and this saves it saves our company easily $100,000 a year by her making simple little notes of how well the machines are processing. And that's basically avoiding unwanted repairs and calling in Rico.
You like this lady, don't you?
No, I don't.
She's a nice lady.
Well, it sounds like a representative from management that's doing a good job.
And and memes, that's a very rare thing because almost everybody else sits in their office and thinks that their shit don't stink.
But the thing is that, I mean, if you're in management anyway, the responsibility is to make things work. And so you should be paying attention to your department and you should be attending it. You know, you should know everyone who's in your department.
Well, exactly, and with the exception of that one person, with the exception of the one lady who actually does her job, everybody else acts like bureaucrats. So when something bad happens, it's everybody else gets blamed, and when something good happens, it's all, you didn't do that, I did. They love to pull the Obama card.
Well, exactly. You need to tout yourself, send out some happy emails and stuff, and yeah.
So that's pretty much why I said to them, I said, you know, this is the reason why we don't have music in this part of the print and distribution of the factory, because it's counterproductive and it contradicts what needs to be done. If you have it over in delivery and shipping, hey, no big effing deal.
Well, no, wait. This is my question. So yeah, that's a distraction at work. I got arrested for Grand Theft Auto and released because I didn't do it.
Nice job.
And this is in California, right? So I'm in the jail. I'm in the jail, and they're bumping Tupac at night, and I'm like, really? Are you just egging these people on?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, it's one of those. See, I have sat in a holding cell before, and not because I didn't pay a traffic fine on time, and I had a warrant out for my arrest, and that's just how they roll. Well, I couldn't see the magistrate until Monday, so I had to basically spend the weekend there. And I'm sitting there, I'm reading a book, and I got all these assholes saying, man, what are you in for? It's like, I didn't pay a traffic fine on time. Well, seriously, what are you in for? And they don't believe you. But when you go to bed, they still have some overhead light on it. It's kind of like, do you want people to go to sleep and be able to be fresh during the day to follow the orders that you set out for them to do, to have their daily tasks get done? Or do you really want to piss people? They don't care. That's my point. They don't care that a light's shining in your face and you do not get sleep. The police in California do not give a shit if they're pumping Tupac, because they want you to feel as miserable as possible because they think that's their job or that they're douchebags. Of course, you're talking to a guy that still believes we should have road chain gangs and take the fucking cable out of every jail take the cable out of every jail across the country. And we should put criminals that have been proven guilty of federal crimes to death.
Well, I'm not in favor of the death penalty. I've had that argument before. I don't want to do it right now.
No,
but
I'm just simply stating my train of thought.
I do agree with you. Yeah, I do agree with you on the cable point, other than like a general room where, you know, from 7 to 8, they get to sit in there and watch the goddamn news, and then you're sent back to your cell. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't do this whole, if you're in death row, you're dead already. Here, have fucking TV, have cable. You even get fucking internet access now. Like, what? Really? Like,
yeah. And there are kids. We have a place in Davenport called Annie Whitmire. It used to be a group. It originally was an orphanage, and during the Civil War, it acted as a hospital for Union troops here in Iowa. And in the long run, it became a group home, and now it's basically for at-risk or troubled youth. And it kind of behaves. They changed it. They changed the structure quite a bit, and it kind of acts like a little bit of a pre-prison. Now, in that kind of environment, I would understand why kids would get to have internet access and watch cable. I'm not making excuses for their behavior. They've landed there for a reason. However, unlike jail, they are not prisoners. They are there to, and we all know this is completely contradictory, the way people behave especially, to, quote, learn the rules and behave by the rules of said society, unquote. And so you do want them to be as stress-free as possible, because that helps keep them focused and to accumulate back into said society as much as possible. The problem is, a lot of times these kids will go right back into the same situation, not because they're bad kids, but because their environment that's waiting for them hasn't changed. And they're expecting the kids to change and to make sure that this environment doesn't affect them, which is not how it works at all. That's not the same as being in jail for being a dipshit, you know, psychopath or sociopath or somebody who's killed people or robbed the bank, committed a federal crime, or anything on any of that type of level, as opposed to stupid shit like, yeah, I'm in the drunk tank because I got pulled over for drinking and driving type shit. There is a difference.
Kids need stability.
No, absolutely.
Right. And prisoners do too, but most oftentimes by American, you know, we all know that by American law, when you are 18, you are considered an adult, and that you are supposed to have the function of acting and being capable to function as said adult, when we know that's not really the case, where maturity itself often does not come across for everybody at the same age. I myself was not a mature person until I was 28, when I walked right into my parents' house and I said, hey, you know when I was 18 and I said I knew everything and blah, 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 and my mom's like, yeah? Well, I know jack shit. And she goes, welcome to adulthood.
It sucks being an adult.
Adulting does suck.
Fair point, but I would throw out there, I was on my own at 16 completely, and I was pretty much an adult at 16. So I believe the maturity level varies from person to person. That's why I'm such an individualist.
That's what I mean. This is why I don't understand this idea that somebody would not be in. I don't understand that somebody can declare themselves not an adult at like 28. You got kids being, you know, sued to get out of the fucking house at 30. I mean, what makes people that way? It's a retardation process.
Well,
you know, it's infantilizing people all the way through.
In my particular case, Cabbage, I was basically a smartass who thought he knew it all. I had to be brought down a lot of pegs to realize I know jack shit and grow up. And I had a 4-year-old at the time. So, yeah, there should have been that. That should have been the first thing, is once my daughter was born, I should have realized I need to buckle down and grow up. Instead, I was still being a jackass.
But I mean,
that's
yeah,
on me.
but surely, but that's what I mean. I mean, is that just a lack of self-awareness, or, you know, objectivity of your own position?
For me, it was for me, it was definitely lack of objectivity. But that's completely different, however, from the way that, and I'm not trying to pick on any one group of people, but the way that we perceive millennials as being. They are supposed to have been raised by Gen Xers, and that's hit or miss on a lot of levels, but the parental authority has been overridden by the baby boomers, who think that their shit doesn't stink and that their word is law, and they override the parental guidance and authority of said parents that are raising the kids.
Well, I don't know, because it is different over here, but the baby boomers over here, it was a case of get yourself out, get a job, grow up. You know what I mean?
It's strictly an American thing, trust me.
So basically, it's spoiled little brats who just be mollycoddled all the way through their lives, and then because they've been told that they are so special all the time, they actually buy into the bullshit.
Right.
Okay.
And my parent, and oddly, and the thing is, I'm a Gen Xer, and a lot of people think, oh, your parents were baby boomers. No, my parents, who are thankfully still alive, are both 77 and 78 years old. They are of the silent generation. So their tactics for raising kids was vastly different. I was just a very difficult child. That's why I had to learn everything the hard way. And when I did learn things the hard way,
which means basically asshole.
Yeah, I was. And that's why I said when I was 28, I went up to my parents and said, I know nothing. They said, welcome to adulthood. Because I'd been out on my own since I was 18, but still I had a lot of growing up to do.
You
know, I'm just amazed that it took an extra 10 years to figure that shit out.
Well, no, I think it's more.
There are some people that never figure it out.
Yeah,
but who else is bolstering your ego? I mean, like,
I think what Zero is saying, though, it was an attitude thing, not like actually stepping up and being a grown-up.
Yeah, it was a massive attitude. It was a massive ego and attitude. There are people that are in their 40s that still act like that, and I'm like, how do you people function? And they're they're acting like jackhats, and they're having their midlife crisis in their 30s. I'm like, you people really need to get your shit in gear. How do you function? I couldn't tell you.
But this is what I don't understand, right? Because you said, like, you left home at 18, right? So, and you said 28 was when you went and said to your parents, I know nothing. So that 10 years, who were the people who were bolstering you to still believe the bullshit that you were believing, you know, before you came to this?
Just me. It's all on me.
All right. Okay. It was self-induced.
Self-induced stupidity and egotism. Yeah, absolutely. And there are a lot of people that are my age that still cannot come to that conclusion that they don't know it all. They think they do know it all. And it's kind of like, well, how do you function? And then they wonder why their kids are screwed up and act the way they do by thinking everybody deserves to have a trophy.
People don't like admitting they're wrong.
That's very true. And as we discussed earlier in the live stream, the hand of God, fate, whatever you want to call it, oftentimes proves otherwise because it has to prove otherwise.
You see, I've never had that problem because I always like being like because if you're proven wrong, then you've learned something. Well, yeah.
Vegetables are
Not everyone's one of the initial internet-based
vegetables are immutable from the hands of fate.
We will survive the hurricane.
I'll do that. Hurricane is nasty.
They figure you got enough problems, they'll give you a free pass on this.
Yes. You can't add this shit on the pile.
It's your one.
You got to fertilize it.
So right there,
yeah,
there,
but not with salt water.
Memes. I put that last article shows you exactly what the EPA was doing.
I just didn't see where it said the EPA was caught red-handed putting gas into the water supply. I saw a lot of stuff about what is it, MTBE.
Read the last article. Here, let me.
But
let me read
on that.
I don't know. I see it.
Let me read the most important part, so just in case you miss it. As for the EPA, a senior official, Al Crucify them, Amardalis, I can't pronounce the name, initially worked in lockstep with local activists to pursue the baseless endangerment order against the operators of those wells. Range resources extensive. All right. Chemical gas fingerprinting, however, showed that the natural source for the methane, not drilling for fracking. An EPA official later admitted under oath that the agency had not conducted extensive fingerprinting to find the source. And in 2012, the EPA dropped its case. All right. Now, he intentionally attached a garden hose to a gas vent, not the water line, and then lit it on fire. This is the evidence that the EPA was using in court.
Who was the local consultant? Did they work for the EPA?
Making me moist, MC. I'm getting moist.
No, that they were the local activists.
No, it says a local consultant, so somebody that probably would have been working on something for the EPA by contract or otherwise.
No, he was an activist. This guy was trying to. He was saying, "Look, my wells are on fire. My wells are on fire. This is all from fracking." Every time that they've gone and actually looked at that, what they have found is when there has been contamination, it wasn't from fracking. It was from other wells that were properly shielded.
Yeah, no, I'm just reading the article. It says, according to a 2012 ruling of the Texas District Court, this landowner conspired with a local consultant.
Right.
So the landowner was an activist, and whoever was the local authority who was doing said inspections and stuff, basically they worked together to do it. Okay.
And they went to the EPA to help them out with their lawsuit, and the EPA was part of that case and launched a case themselves.
Did they realize that they were committing fraud?
Once again, in court, he had to admit that they didn't do any kind of fingerprinting. No, they claimed, oh, we didn't know. No, they did know. They were part of this group. The EPA official.
Well, nobody's ever said I don't know in court before.
Huh?
No, I said nobody in court's ever said we didn't know that.
They didn't do what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but ignorance of the law is not a defense.
Yeah, they should have investigated it. Oh, they didn't actually check anything, and they saw no correlation.
They were working with lockstep with local activists to pursue the case.
Yeah, because they got duped.
No, they willingly did this. It wasn't they were duped.
They knew at the time.
How else would they know this? There's evidence all around. They've got the agency has the power.
Dude, hang on. You just said they knew about it.
Yes, but according to a court of law, they did not know.
They knew when they found out.
They could have known. Maybe they knew. But at least according to the law of the state.
Such a wanker.
Everywhere else they would do testing to find out where the source was from, and this time they didn't. How do you explain that?
Maybe it was so fucking obvious that they're like, why the hell are you going to waste funds on something you already know?
It's so
they got
fucking
duped.
obvious.
No, they got sold a load of crap, dude.
So.
No, they completely no. That's fucking collusion. They colluded and they defrauded the fucking federal government.
The activists were defrauding it, but in conjunction with the EPA, part of the federal
Well,
government.
the EPA seems like they were a bunch of idiots. Were they complicit? Maybe, but not.
What do you mean, maybe? Yes! You see, you just keep coming back with this. They're the problem.
MC, show me the conviction.
What conviction are you looking for?
Well, see, there is no conviction for this particular case.
See, well, no, he's got plenty
EPA,
of convictions. Have you not heard his voice? He's plenty convicted.
Oh, there are convictions for the folks that defrauded the EPA.
The EPA later,
if they knowingly did it,
they had gone in that court saying that they had all this evidence, and then later had to admit that they didn't have any of this evidence, and they had to drop their own case. Okay, this means they brought a case they knew they didn't have evidence for. They brought it. This was part of a broader case. They had no evidence to bring in this case. They wanted to pile on in.
So it was part of like a larger case. So this was one facet of the case.
No, they themselves launched a second case to say, we're going to help this guy out by launching a case using our resources, using the federal government's resources to get this evil company, knowing they had no evidence.
Did the person that sent the letter know that?
You're such a tedious twat.
What do you mean the person who sent the letter? The person who started it was the one who hooked the garden hose up to a gas vent.
No, that was a local consultant and never says anywhere they worked for the EPA, like as an actual employee.
That was taking to part of this whole EPA stuff to justify, and then those videos were used by the EPA as evidence.
You're such a twat. You know you are.
Yes, but if the actual fruit of the tree, if it was a root that was grown there,
and if unicorns were
greenhouse.
ogres, we'd all be living in the fucking Twilight Zone.
Well, I like onions.
The EPA wasn't doing its job here, were they? They were out there just
they fucked up
in the way.
They said something that wasn't true, but that doesn't necessarily mean they knew at the time.
They did know it at the time.
Well, they should have double checked, but they didn't.
What do you mean double check? They could have freaking done it. They've got all the freaking evidence. They're there to collect evidence. Their primary job is to collect evidence, and they didn't even do it.
Well, maybe they thought the original person was telling the truth.
Maybe, baby, I'll have you. Maybe, baby.
Well, maybe they're just incompetent, and the whole department is shut down. But
maybe.
No, we're beating a dead horse here. What do you guys think?
Well, no, it's just memes. No, it's just memes being a fucking contrarian cunt, and he does it all the time. And he doesn't believe any of the shit that he's saying. He's just doing it for his own shits and giggles. He's a twat.
You're sure about that?
I'm absolutely convinced.
I mean, would it be as exciting if everyone's like, I don't like the EPA? No, EPA is very bad. Oh, no, EPA, bad.
Yeah, but there's a point at which it just becomes tedious and, it sort of goes beyond the pale. And you don't seem to be able to get that marker.
People don't like it when their heads hurt.
On the link of that guy, the crucify.
Yeah, but you're not hurting anyone's hand. You're just boring people.
Read where this guy, this EPA, this high official of the EPA, where he now works.
The gentleman who was the local consultant.
No, the EPA official.
Oh,
Amadarez. Or
where's he work?
Armin.
I'll take your word.
Armendariz.
Oh, like ExxonMobil or something?
No. The Anti-Natural Gas Sierra Club.
Oh.
The Sierra Club is back again.
1.5.
Well, no, I'm looking at my phone because I was like, we've talked about the EPA. We beat this dead horse to death. I found from Barron's is the website. Marijuana stocks dropped after some troubling news for Canadian pot investors. Cannabis-related stock hours trading to U.S. may bar Canadians who invest in said companies from entering the United States
permanently.
Like literally banning people.
Wait, was it the Canadian exchange?
look, don't forget, we've had Lauren Southern. She's been banned, and there was a couple of people who've been banned recently, and that's for political things. I mean, drugs has got to be higher up the scale of, justifications for banning, haven't they?
Yeah, but I mean, when you're looking at Colorado, Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, how many other states have legalized it?
Don't try and make any sense out of it.
In the United States.
It is fucking legal.
It's not federally legal.
Dude, I have the proof in my desk, man. I went to a dispensary.
It's not federally legal.
Savage is correct.
Go back to my rant that I did was it yesterday or the day before about this very thing about marijuana.
Well, we all saw the title of that video and we all skipped it because we.
yeah, you're not on our side, you fucking.
I suggest you sit up there and take a look at it because the reason I brought it up was just what the FDA just recently did. Which was,
like I said,
they frickin' threatened all the manufacturers of vape because they say there's a teenage epidemic of vaping, so we're going to stamp it out. The EPA is doing this completely on its own without any support, not any evidence that says that vaping is bad or dangerous.
Is there an epidemic? Well, actually, MC, no, there was a study that came out, I think, 2 years ago, and it was a 10-year study. And basically what they found, they didn't necessarily find anything like fully definitive, but they did find a very high correlation with basically you are putting moisture in your lungs. So if and when someone gets sick and they have some sort of infection or anything within their lungs, it tends to linger more.
Yeah.
So there could be all the future complications.
They call it popcorn lung. Yeah,
what happens when you put water into a warm, dark tank?
Popcorn lung.
This is a really short article, so I can finish it in like 10 seconds if you guys shut the fuck up. Felicitating the proliferation of the legal marijuana industry in the U.S. states where it is deemed legal, or Canada may affect an individual's admission. I'm sorry. Yeah, in the United States.
10 seconds. I'm counting. You're done. You're over. Sorry, you're finished, man. You
okay, I am done. No, but why exactly why exactly what is asshole? Like, is that
members of this panel?
I'll take
Excuse me. Who are members of this panel?
I'll take what our loudmouth butt munches for $500.
That was good. Yes.
But
the whole point is
that
the point is
the legal marijuana. What is the problem with the Canadian investment group investing in the Oregon marijuana industry?
The problem is Madodge is very simple because it is not federally legal. It may have been implemented, statutes on the states where they permit it, but it is not federally legal.
You're sending money internationally.
Exactly, and so you're dealing with it in a federal concept, in a federal construct, whatever. So that when that happens, that's obviously different than it would be if you were just doing state to state, well, I mean, you can't even do that, right? Because if you're right next door to a state that doesn't have
but Canada,
Canada
legalized marijuana. It comes legal on October 17th. That's why this is becoming an issue. And go ahead now. Go ahead.
Yes, but the thing is, it still won't make any difference because in the US, it's still not federally legal. It is
the federal government can suck my fucking rebel cock.
Well, I understand your reservations because I've got the same opinions about the European Union. I understand your angst, but I'm saying that under the actual structure that's in place at the moment, it's still a federal violation. It's not a state violation necessarily, but it is a federal one. That's just the reality. I mean, it's a juxtaposition. I mean,
well, that's the thing. You don't know. It's that level of uncertainty which drives investors.
Go.
Hashtag dis.
No, Robert is shoving his little sister. She's only 2 and he's 5, and I've about had it. Sorry about that. That's all it was. I said go back to your room. I didn't fucking hit him, so knock it off.
I think we all need to go back to our room.
No daddy of 5 thing going on here.
No, I said go to your room. Yeah, I said go to your room, damn it.
No, he's daddy of 6.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
but on a serious note, what I was talking MC, what I was talking about on Twitter, if they were to legalize it, would it not? And you did answer it. I was just thinking we should bring it up here because it's something that should be said out loud. If they were to legalize it in a specific way, like they do in Amsterdam, where we have hash bars and you can do whatever you want to do, the certain things you can do. Would it not really bring on a certain level drug convictions down for possession of pot, to say the least, and empty some jail cells?
I don't think so.
Yeah, which is bad because it's commercial prisons, and so you think that they're going to be motivated to do?
Well,
that?
first of all, Cabbage, I know you guys are constantly harassing about the commercial prison, but the reality is that the vast majority of those people that are in there for just quote unquote drug offenses were not arrested for drug offenses initially. It was an additional charge that they pled down to. All right. Okay. So you would now, to be honest, that in and of itself is an issue. All right. So my point here was very simple, which is they're probably still going to be in prison just for the initial crime that they were captured for to begin with. Now, will there be a few people that won't be in prison because of it? Yeah, there'll be a few. All right, but it won't be the significant numbers that people think it is. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because that's one of the things that a lot of people think, and I thought it myself. It's kind of like, well, would it not be this across the board? And because you got to remember, we as people tend to generally think in broad strokes as opposed to fine tuning, pinpointing things specifically. Well, which is why I asked.
Laws are broad strokes, whether you like it or not. I mean, that's what it is. You're correct in that regard. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah, well, that's why you have the concept of you work on precedent. So you have to draw from all the previous precedents. So it's bound to be
we're pattern recognition creatures.
This is the principle.
Every time you bring up. Every time, though, MC, you start preaching on this drug fucking issue, I need to bring up the fact that they had to do a constitutional amendment to ban alcohol. Where is that for any other drug at all, ever? Show it to me.
It actually comes up 2 amendments later, as a matter of fact.
Tobacco. Well, you still have dry states, though, in America.
And I'm sorry, Mad Dodge, not to mention that unlike pot, a lot of other drugs that people are using are designed to kill you. Hence why they're illegal.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. It's a physical fact that meth is designed to kill you.
Yeah, because
meth is designed to kill you. Cocaine is designed to kill you.
Is that why we give meth to children? Is that why we hand them out fucking Adderall like it's fucking Pez dispensers?
Yeah,
like,
but
really?
But it's a different form. I mean, if you're talking about, it's like the difference between buying gin from an off license and buying it from a fucking bathtub.
That is my motherfucking point. If it was legal, it would be the pure form. You would know what you were fucking getting, and you wouldn't fucking die. God damn it!
Mad Dodge. That is also my point. The methamphetamines that people are dealing with are not in the purest form. They are laced. They are designed to kill and be addictive. They're not the same thing.
That's the thing, right? And you say if you make something pure, then
my problem.
Then that's good. But
my problem is
you could get
You
can get tainted cyanide, right? And just purifying it, it's still going to end up with the same fucking result when you
yeah, well, and if you're a dumbass that goes to the store and goes, "Hey, I want some cyanide tonight," then you fucking deserve it. Fuck you.
Well, no, I agree with you. Yeah, that's Darwinism.
But Mad Dodge, that's the whole point I've been trying to make here. You've got to go in and get rid of the FDA. You've got to take that power away from them. If you sit up there and say, okay, well, I don't want to get rid of the FDA, and I still want them to have that power, then they're going to use it.
You know what I think we should get rid of?
Use it on marijuana. They're going to use it whenever they so desire. And even if today you see them, well, they're not coming after me today, that doesn't mean sometime 5 years down the road they won't, because they've done that kind of stuff in the past.
I think we should get rid of the NSA, the CIA, the OSI.
Well, you let me know when you get rid of GCHQ, okay?
Yeah.
When you start calling for the end of GCHQ, then you go ahead and do that.
Well, here's the thing.
You see,
Are they going to take do not drink off a bleach?
Interesting, right? Because you don't give a shit about the FDA because you're not part of it, right? So it's like, well, I'm going to protect my little corner of the, of the tax bracket. You know, because
just keep this funding. With the FDA now than I do with the freaking with the other thing. It has nothing to do with that, Cabbage. When you start calling for the end of GCHQ every single time you make that statement, you let me know, all right?
Hey, well, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it getting broken up.
Just let me know when you're calling for that, okay?
No, I am. I just did.
Cabbage has submitted his ticket. MC, he is now in the queue. Feel free to answer when you're available.
You know I'm being facetious, mate. It's just, you know, it's just quite funny when you go against other institutions.
I think
anyone would mention.
I think the federal government should be reduced in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I don't think that there. But the thing is you
except the military and the intelligence agencies.
No, you're calling for them to be eliminated. You're not calling for a reduction.
No, I was being facetious. Yeah, no, you know I was being facetious.
Yeah, tell that to Mad.
Reduce everything except the parts that MC likes. We have 13.
Bad Dodge. I hope you come back, man.
Oh wait, did he jump? Oh shit!
No, he just got renditioned. MC just renditioned him. He's on his way to Egypt.
Oh my God, he pulled a Carmen San Diego.
He's on his way.
He's been
Where in the world is Mad Dodge Productions now?
Yep, that's what I was thinking. You know, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people, when they talk about drugs and they do talk about illegal drugs, something that I honestly feel should be illegalized, and this is just my opinion, I honestly feel that high fructose corn syrup should be illegalized. And
what is illegalized? It's not even a word.
Illegal. Whatever. Making that word? Shut. Dude, who gives a shit?
He has to use that word or it'll get banned because it's like illegal aliens and now have to be called illegal.
Oh, yeah, we can't. Hashtag Article 13 on that one. I have to pay somebody for that if I use the other one. No, seriously, high fructose corn syrup has actually been proven across the board to be detrimental to an average person's health, no matter if it's in small or large doses. You want to talk about something that should be illegal, that should be illegal. The problem is the FDA is taking a lot of money from the lobbyists, especially Monsanto, to say the least, to allow it to be continually used in food products, as opposed to cane sugar. Now, we all know that processed sugar, to an extent, is not digestible, depending on how that is made, but it's actually more, we also know that it's actually more easy to deal with as opposed to high fructose corn syrup. If you want to talk about making anything illegal, fuck the FDA and fuck high fructose corn syrup. That shit needs to go bye-bye.
Well, it's a thought. Oh, yeah.
Well, it is a thought. That's why I said that's just my opinion.
Then you're going to go back to the cane field, right? You're going to start
that's actually
sugar cane again.
Yeah. Why don't we? I mean, do we not have the capability of doing so?
You know what? You could go back to the honeybees. Go back to, instead of having monocultures, have polycultures, and then you can have the honeybees, and then you'd actually have the natural honey. You wouldn't need all of these artificial.
And you're right on that, Cabbage. You're very right on that.
If we were going to go back to sugarcane, you'd have to change over. There's not very many places in the United States where you can really grow sugarcane.
Okay.
Effectively, as in a large scale that you couldn't use for other types of production. For example,
that's why I asked.
For example, Louisiana, you could grow sugarcane, right, fairly effectively, except for the fact that you can grow more rice even more. Right, so people plant more rice there rather than sugarcane, right? And the reduction in sugarcane more or less came about because of a single country in the United States. The reason we use corn syrup is because of our little neighbor, our closest neighbor across the water, right, which is Cuba, right? When we banned Cuba,
Blame the Spanish.
it wasn't the Spanish. When we banned sugar or any kind of trade with Cuba, right? Their number one exporter, all right, of sugar was to the United States. They sent 80% of their sugar to the United States. Once we banned that, we no longer had regular supplies of sugar cane. So people were looking for other sweeteners, and that's why one of the main reasons why they switched to corn syrup.
Like I say, go to honey. Much better for you. Much more healthy.
Yeah. Now, see, I don't know. I know that Monsanto is like 30 or 40 miles away from me, down in southern central Iowa, along the river, and I know there's GPC in a town 27 miles and a half away from me, and I know they do roughly the same thing with high fructose corn syrup. Can you please explain to people what the difference is that they may not know? And this is kind of random. Can you please explain the difference, MC, of what you know about the difference between corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup? Because a lot of people do not know the difference.
GM. One is GM, one isn't.
Well, what does that mean to the average person?
Genetically modified. It's well, I mean, go on. No, sorry, you asked MC. I don't want to be answering this question. MC?
Did he take a nap?
I don't know. He is an old man. He might have passed out.
He's an old man. He might have passed out. Says you. That's funny.
Yeah, but I got
not passed out. I did have to change the battery on my. I did have to change out my mic.
On his
colostomy battery out on his mic. Well, at least he knows he didn't pass out.
My catheter needed replacing.
Well, that's probably true as well. But anyway, no, high fructose is a further concentration of the sugar fructose is what they're basically doing. Is they're concentrating it further. Corn syrup is not concentrated; it's just regular corn syrup. It's the initial stage. High fructose corn syrup is basically you're taking that and you're refining it again, all right, to get to a point where you're just dealing almost exclusively with the fructose, the actual sugar component, rather than the rest of the syrup that's with it. Some people find that they think that that's sweeter and adds a sweeter taste, so you have to use less of it to actually create like a sweetener.
That's the thing I really don't like when I went to the States, was everything was either too salty or too sweet. Just like everything, just throw it on.
And see, I asked that question because I am rather ignorant on the subject. I do not know much about it. I do know that when I go grocery shopping, when I look at a can of soda on average, which is the bane of modern American existence in regards to food, to say the minimum, that you do see the high fructose corn syrup in the chemical compounds or the ingredients of that can of soda, and then I will walk down another aisle and I'll see the Caro brand syrup, which you can put on your pancakes.
Right.
I do not know the difference. I mean, I know there is a difference, but I do not know what the difference is, and I don't think a lot of average folks know the difference.
They think of it as a further refine. It's like the difference between wine and brandy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you get those double cool, beers which have been double brewed or whatever. Same sort of thing. It's sort of like a double brewing process.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't know that either. I don't drink alcohol. It doesn't agree. I just don't like it. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Well, you know what wine is. You know, obviously,
you don't have to drink it to know about it.
You know that there's a major difference between wine and brandy, right?
Yes.
Okay, but that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a refinement process. You take wine and you make brandy out of wine by refining.
It's basically a distillation process. You're just distilling it further so that you get the concentration. It's just concentration.
Yeah,
process.
I think there's something else involved in that distillation process, though, when it comes to corn syrup. I don't know exactly what it is, though.
Well, like
Yes,
I said, also
you are back, Mad Dodge, and we do appreciate that we can continue our live stream now.
but also the majority of the corn which is used for fructose corn syrup is, as far as I'm aware, it's genetically modified and it's not edible. You couldn't eat it. You know, like if you suddenly had a food crisis, all of those, you know, fields of corn, they would be absolutely useless for human consumption.
No,
now I can't. Now hold on a second, hold on, MC, hold that thought. Now I do know for a fact, Cabbage, that we do have genetically modified corn that we use for ethanol. I couldn't speak in coming from Iowa. I do know that for a fact, but I couldn't.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, because I couldn't speak on the I couldn't speak on the fact for high fructose corn syrup. But I do know that we have it for an ethanol, and if it's not used, it is basically wasted product. Go ahead, MC.
Yeah, corn. You can eat that corn. It's not going to kill you to eat that corn. It's just that it isn't good.
Nutritious.
It doesn't taste well. No, it tastes like paste. Okay. You can eat it.
Just remember, kids, if you don't want to piss your parents off while you're in kindergarten by eating your sticks of paste, just eat some ethanol corn. That's corn for ethanol that we've modified. It's the same thing.
But when you eat it, doesn't it then brew in your stomach? So you can actually get you should be able to get a good high off it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So you could say in any severe disaster type situation that you could eat the corn that's grown for ethanol, but it would take longer to digest and would be way less. It would be basically harder to chew, so to speak.
I bet it'd give you the shit. I bet it'd give you the shit.
Tastes horrible.
Wouldn't believe.
I mean, it's edible, but it would taste terrible.
It's horrible. It's just as horrible. It's also the same thing, to be honest. Generally, they use the same product in feed corn for cattle and stuff and hogs.
You see, cattle don't have. Yeah, but you know, when was the last time you saw a cow sitting in a restaurant? They don't have high standards.
Well, neither do Democrats, but we're not banning them from restaurants yet, now are we?
Well, I don't know. Who was that? Well, I mean, Republicans are getting kicked out of restaurants, I seem to remember. Who was that guy who got the Trump supporter? He got kicked out of the restaurant.
Oh, people have tried to bump. I'm more of a conservative by a definition as opposed to a Republican, and I love when people try to bump me out of a restaurant and say, "Bitch, I haven't even paid my bill yet. You gonna pay it? No, then shut the fuck up and leave me alone." And they walk off because they don't want to spend the money. That's why they deter from doing so.
No, but because opinions shouldn't have prices, right? There shouldn't be a cost to an opinion.
No.
Actually, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it, if you to actually tax opinions? It'd be amazing how few people actually had.
Now that's going to be Article 14.
Why would you
that's going to be Article 14 for the EU.
Statement? You are just giving these idiots ideas, Cabbage.
I know.
Yeah,
Cabbage,
Cabbage, you remind me of something that I tell my parents all the time. I never think of the stupid shit until you think of it for me. That's going to be Article 14 in the EU coming, by the way. Thanks to you, dipshit. We're going to hunt you down for it. Nice job,
as soon as
buddy.
It came out of my mouth. It was like, holy shit, someone's going to fucking hear this idea. Damn it. See, sometimes you need to have an inner monologue.
Where's yours? That's what
I'm beginning to wonder if he's been a sleeper agent this entire time to justify this entire thing.
He is. He's a bot. He's a Russian bot. We're probably gonna get in trouble for saying that too. So way to go, Dade. You fucking idiot. It's like, yeah, I'm an idiot.
And they're sucking you in. You see, it's the great siphon.
We've all been played. Cabbage is on the other team. He's been dicking us this entire time.
He secretly works for North Korea.
I am Johnny Darko.
Well, unfortunately, Mad Dogs, we lost Bash and memes.
Was that a loss? They weren't contributing anything anyway. Fuck them.
Ouch.
Well, they didn't say shit. Well, apart from memes.
All I know is that when memes brings up stuff, MC, you fly off the handle faster than anything.
Because he's sitting up there trying to play that wussy ass.
Well,
Can't we all freaking get along? Crap that has caused a lot of this shit.
I was actually wondering if it was more of his delivery of the question as opposed to actually what he was saying. Because, like, when I bring up a question to you, I really genuinely want to know. Because if I'm ignorant on a subject or I don't have enough information, and you do have your specific knowledge of the information, I'd rather ask that question as to, simply ask as in regards to not provoke, you know what I mean?
No, but he's trying to, but I do, but at the same time, you're trying to learn. He's doing it because he's trying to get a
So he's doing it for the lulz.
Yeah, he's doing it for the trolls and the lulz.
I don't know if it's necessarily for the lulz per se. I think he's trying to take control using this passive aggressive approach of the conversation, so that you can ignore all the freaking malfeasance that's been going on, and that's where I really have a problem.
He did a weekend course with NLP, and working his mojo, baby.
Well, I was just making sure, because it seems that on certain subjects, everybody gets butthurt about something. And me, if it's for you, MC, it's that subject. For Mad Dodge, it's definitely about pot and specific drugs. You fucking hippie. And then me, it's everything else that's comic book and music related. You fucking cock knockers.
Well, he had a good stream the other day. Do you follow?
Well, what's mine then?
Do you follow rap by any chance, Dave?
Follow who?
Rap.
Music. Rap music. You know that?
No, I don't follow rap music. I'm fucking Iowan. What the hell?
Well, the reason I asked is because he was doing a stream on some rap stuff recently. Mad Dodge was that you might have been interested in.
No, actually, I was on a live stream the other night, and Mad Dodge was there, and he can attest to this. I was on Eldridge's stream because I was invited, and we were talking about the subject, and I'm not going to repeat the subject. We were talking about a specific subject, and unfortunately, another person on the panel was having some issues, and I did take it the wrong way, and I apologize for taking it the wrong way, as Eldridge told me later. But I really did kind of fly off the handle, and I don't like being rude to people. And the problem was I didn't know the circumstances of why what happened, and I think had I known, I would have handled it differently. The topic wasn't overly sensitive or touchy. It was the fact that I was asked on specifically to speak on something, and when I'm interrupted every 5 seconds with kind of what happened between you and Memes in a specific way, it does become grating and irritating. And I used to have the same issue with Cabbage, but I've adjusted the Cabbage because he actually does it for the lulz.
Well, yeah, but also content too. I mean, come on, there's a little bit more.
but there is a difference when somebody actually, in the situation in Eldridge's stream, because you can go back to it and you can hear me fly off the handle pretty damn quick. It was an unfortunate situation because not everybody was. There were crossed wires on the subject. Not everybody was on the same page, unfortunately, and that does happen. So I'm hoping that somewhere down the road, when Eldritch does another stream, we can all get back together and resolve the situation and get back to the topic, because
but the thing is, Nero,
it was different.
Even if people are not, but the thing is, people can be on different pages, because maybe there are two pages. Maybe like everything doesn't have to be a single look at.
No, that's not.
And then when you are, that's when you end up with a fucking echo.
Cabbage. Unfortunately, that was not the case. The other person had a medical issue.
Oh well. Yeah. Are we talking mental or physical?
I can't divulge the information.
Well,
but that person was not able to contribute as best as they could, and I think that person had a lot of good things to contribute. And I would love to talk with the person again. So it's not.
I think we're talking mental issues.
People have different opinions. It was the fact that he really was not there.
Well, no, and I was there, and yeah, you did fly off the handle, and then you hit me up and told me, "Hey, dude, sorry about that, but I'm probably not going to do live streams anymore." And here you are, so welcome back. I'm glad.
I did find out from Eldritch, and he can confirm this, that yes, there was an extenuating circumstance to the whole ordeal, and that I flew off the handle, and it was uncalled for me to fly off the handle in the long run. There is
Did
a
you own the
difference.
handle? Did you own the handle? Perfectly
You know,
fine.
I don't think I put enough down on layaway for the handle that time.
Well, it sounds like you're doing it at this point. Now, Memes knows that I still like him. I just don't like that wishy-washy, moderate crap.
Oh, Memes. He knows he can come back in, and he's just bailed out because he's just been twat.
But no, and
I like Memes.
Janice, yes, the Hawaiian Islands do grow cane sugar, right? But to be honest, those plantations were competing with pineapple plantations at the time, right? So, and in fact, there were songs that were being sung all over America at that time period. CNH, pure cane sugar from Hawaii.
I remember that.
All right.
Yeah, CNH, they still sell that.
Yes, they still do sell sugar, but not in the industrial. Yeah. It's sold now as baking goods, right?
Yeah, it is. It's using for baking as opposed to industrial. Right.
Instead of industrial processing in major soda and stuff like that. And the main reason is because they need so much more sugar now. Where are you going to get the sugar at? Now we have increased our relations with Cuba. Could Cuba once again start to grow more sugarcane and sell it to the United States? Theoretically, although to be honest, at their sugar levels now are not nearly, their production levels aren't nearly what they used to be.
And mainly, why is that?
Yeah, but the whole West Indies. I mean, Barbados, Jamaica, all of those. I mean,
a lot of it is because they've retooled away from it. The rest of the world doesn't eat sugar like the United States. So the market for sugar when the embargo happened and the Soviet Union said we'll buy the sugar, it was to prop up obviously Cuba, but it wouldn't make sense for Cuba to continue to stay without any kind of diversification. So they started slowly to reduce the amount of sugar that they produce. They still produce sugar, don't get me wrong, but not in the levels that they did before because, frankly, it wasn't sustainable for their economy.
Well, yeah. No, and I mean, they had almost like Britain did, during the Second World War. It's like, dig for victory or whatever. I mean, every single plot of land was, dug up for growing organics. I mean, they are one of the biggest, in terms of per capita, organic vegetable exporters. Cuba's got, quite a few things.
Yeah, I mean, they have other possibilities and other things that they deal with.
They are big on the organics. They're very big on the organics.
I can honestly say I think that one of America's biggest issues is the high fructose corn syrup and sugar. And I say this strictly because
and salt.
Salt. I would say that's a tertiary issue. Now, I've had chocolate from all over the world. I've had German chocolate. I've had chocolate from Mexico. I've had chocolate from Australia. And I can honestly tell people that American chocolate is shit. I mean, it is just garbage in comparison.
It's horrible.
It's terrible. And that's one of our biggest reasons why we have an obesity epidemic is because we put high fructose corn syrup into almost way too much, if not everything that we can. And they say, well, it's a cheap, and they can make it easier. It costs less to process in the long run, and they can put it into more stuff and make their money. But truth be told, if the average American were to go, and I'm going to say Australia for a reason, because that is probably some of the best chocolate I've ever had. It's nice and smooth. If they go over to Australia and have Australian chocolate, and they come back to America and have, say, a Kit Kat, they really might want to puke their guts out. It is because it's so damn nasty.
Oh, seriously, I've had it, and it's like Belgian and Swiss chocolate. I mean,
exactly.
You can't. I mean, they are the best. I mean, I actually got to say I prefer Belgian than Swiss, and I'm not a fan of Belgium. Everyone knows that. Fuck the EU.
Yeah, but
at least they do chocolate.
You're backing up my point that basically an average American can go anywhere and they eat other food. Even in general, just eat other food and have, say, a sweet or two. They're going to come back to America and eat basically Nestle, and they are going to get sick.
Oh, well, no, I told you about this when I was over in the States. When I ended up going to see a doctor because I had he called it salt shock.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, my body wasn't, you know, what it was basically just my body couldn't handle the level of salt content because I was eating a lot in, you know, just cafes and I mean, I was just eating out all the time. I didn't cook anything myself, so I was like everything was over salted.
There's times there's times when your body definitely needs salt. So,
Oh yeah, there are, yeah, but
I mean,
not
for
24/7.
for example, where I live, you're going to eat salt. You don't have a choice because you're going to sweat it out. Okay, it comes out of your pores because of how hot
yeah.
it is here generally. All right, so the food here tends to be higher in salt than it is, let's say, in Minnesota per se. Although, once again, you are correct. We as Americans do consume a tremendous amount of salt. I know
I know,
people.
yeah, but the thing is, I would get like a meal, and I thought it was salty to begin with, and then there'd be people there, and they were putting salt on top. You know, they were
Oh
getting,
yeah,
you know,
it's
like,
amazing.
are you kidding me?
I've seen people order the little packet or take the little packets of salt at a McDonald's to
put it on their fries.
Yes, to increase the salt that's already on the
Wow.
fries, and it's like, holy crap!
That's fucking insane.
Jesus.
I went,
and then they wouldn't.
Yeah, and then
heart
we
disease.
wonder why we have heart disease issues. I do not eat out very much, but I do occasionally go to Wendy's and I'll have a hamburger. So I went to Wendy's the other day. You know, I do it maybe once every other month, and I went to Wendy's the other day and I had a junior bacon cheeseburger. Not very big, you know, it has the fat, the salt, and the carbs that it has in it, and I know this. I'm not eating it every day, though, like some people do, and I can't believe they're not fucking dead yet. And I'm sitting there, and I also had French fries, and I said to them, may I please have French fries without salt? They made it without salt, and it pissed 5 people off behind me. And I turned around and I said, what is the big deal about me getting French fries without salt? Well, you're making them make your special French fries. Why can't you just have it like everybody else? And me being a large gentleman, I'm like, I have enough health problems as it is, regardless of being in a Wendy's. Do you really think I care if you people have to wait 3 extra minutes for me to get some non-salted fries so you can kill yourselves faster?
Hang on a sec. Yeah, but
and
surely...
I had nobody say anything, and I had like 3 employees say, he's got a point, and they all went back to work.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, I mean, surely salting the fries is an extra process. So surely things would have moved quicker by the fact that you asked for them not to do part of the process.
Exactly.
But they just had to get out. The thing is that you're out of sequence. By doing that, you're out of sequence. That's why.
Right. They didn't think of it like you did, Cabbage, and I knew you would bring that point up. They didn't think about it like that. And it's this, and it's a sequence, like MC says. But by them, the irony is they were in the middle of making a fresh new batch of fries. So I basically got fries without salt, and then they salted it. And then 2 out of the 5 people that were bitching about me getting salt-free fries basically sat 2 tables away from me. And of course, MC, what do you think they did?
Salted their fries.
Salted their already salted Biggie fries. And I'm thinking, you guys are fucking insane. All I did was put pepper on mine, and they thought I was the freak.
I tell you what, if you'd have got out a tub of mayonnaise, they'd have flipped out. Wouldn't know what to do.
I'm gonna do that next time just to piss them off, and I will record it. I will fucking record that and put it on Twitter.
Can I have a mayonnaise packet, please?
Yeah, I should. I should go get a squeezable bottle of Hellman's and say, y'all Americans eating that shit. Check out what we do in Canada.
well, no, and like you're saying, we put salt on everything. You are kind of right. I cook a steak. I fucking marinate it for a while so it's nice and tender, and then I throw some garlic salt on there on one side, so seasoned salt on the other. Yeah, it's all salted. You're right. We do. That's our go-to.
Well, Mad Dodge, there is the difference between when a person goes out to McDonald's and put extra salt on their fucking shitty fries, as opposed to you making a steak and then marinating it and throwing on a little garlic salt. You're not doing this every day, and B, you are actually cooking for yourself, and you are more in control about what you put on your steak than what people do in what's in the French fries initially, and then putting salt on top of that. So it can definitely be argued that you are eating healthier on a level than they are with their fucking French fries or their hamburger or their burritos or whatever from Taco Bell, etc., so on and so on.
Taco Bell. I thought Taco Bell was just.
I was in the chat. I put salt on my salad and sandwiches.
You want a little salad with your salt out there in the chat?
I want a salty sandwich.
Salty sandwich.
Tiger Lily, can you give me a salty sandwich?
Tiger Lily can make his own salty sandwich.
Yeah, no. She makes me the sandwiches. Damn it.
You make her the sandwiches. Don't lie.
Eldritch God. I have a giant salt lick in my bed.
But that's okay. That's Eldritch. We allow him. That's part of the Eldritch magic. He has to have that salt lick.
I chew it every morning like a germ.
But no, Cabby, didn't you say that American food was so fucking salty and made you sick? That's pretty weird to me. I mean, I am American, so I've been eating it my whole life. But
but it did. No, I mean, I'm not kidding.
Roast beef without salt roast beef without salt, Eldritch, is like watching porn without pussy.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd say that. I'd say without horseradish.
Okay. Porn without horseradish. That's definitely porn without horseradish.
Roast beef, I actually prefer. If it's a roast beef sandwich, I actually prefer mustard.
Yeah, well, you're a Philistine, but that's fine. We can all get along.
Fucking Philistine.
But yeah, no, it was just. I mean, that was the problem. I mean, like I said, too sweet or too salty. That was the major problem. I just didn't. I don't know. It's just very, very different. Like you said about the chocolate. When you compare things, it's you're not getting the taste of what you're eating. You're just getting salt and you're getting sweet. That's all you're getting out of the food.
Yeah, and and going back in regards to chocolate, when you eat American chocolate, for the most part, it is overpowering with sugar, and you think you're getting a chocolate flavor, as if you go to Australia or Mexico or Belgium or wherever else that has real chocolate that is less in sugar, you are getting an actual flavor.
It's a difference between things like milk chocolate rather than you get more cocoa. You're right. But American,
if you really want to be an asshole, you just trick little kids into eating Baker's chocolate. End of story. And if you've never had Baker's chocolate, you've never genuinely lived, because
that's bitter. Bitter as fuck.
I can tell you. But yeah, that's my point. It's basically that's pure chocolate. That's real chocolate without that added sugar shit.
It will turn your face inside out. It will turn your face inside out.
And I tell every parent out there, if you've got a smart-mouthed kid who thinks they can eat all the chocolate they want, feel free to set some Baker's chocolate out there and have a camcorder or a cell phone going and watch them bite it and watch them get bit in the ass, and that face, just throw that shit up on YouTube. Call it Smart-Mouthed Kid Realizes Chocolate Isn't His Friend. Have a nice day. Baker's chocolate.
You know what, though? You brought that up, and you know what pisses me off? I had a bag of fucking Sour Patch Kids, man, and I don't eat candy that often because my teeth are.
I'm sorry you're talking, Lizzie, but it is funny.
And my son fucking woke up before me, snuck out here, stole my bag of Sour Patch Kids, and fucking ate them. Like, god damn it.
Tiger Lily, sweetie, I did it myself. That's how I know, to speak from experience. I was a smart mouth. My mom left the Baker's chocolate out. And she's like, go ahead, Dave. You can have all the chocolate you want. And she goes, you can have that entire brick of chocolate. I won't complain. If you can finish it, it's fine. I won't complain that you eat it. Fucking Baker's chocolate. God damn it.
Well, no, and going back to McDonald's for a second, I actually worked at McDonald's, and you're fucking right. We put salt on everything. Fucking everything. It's all over that fucking place.
Don't you? But going back to the chocolate, like when you're saying about the chocolate, this is the thing that it's the difference in the combination. When you get more European chocolate, and by the way, I'm not saying Europe is better. It's just that we can produce certain things in a better manner. But the chocolate is, I mean, because you have that taste, This is the problem I always had with things in the States, was it's just one flavor. It's sweet, or it's salty, or it's bitter, or it's, you know what I mean?
It's
You are not,
overpowering is what the problem
yeah,
is.
you're not tasting the, like, you don't get any of the cocoa taste out of the chocolate, because it's got, I mean, it's actually that good description there, which is like waxy.
Wait,
and you get that weird waxy stuff
but
going.
wait a minute though,
You
Cabby.
know?
Then why the hell did Hershey's become a worldwide fucking company and
It
dominate
didn't.
the chocolate market?
You couldn't buy Hershey's over here. We already had our own. We had Cadbury's. You know, Cadbury's exported all around the world. Hershey's is an American thing.
You know, that's really funny. Yeah, my wife, every Easter, she wants those fucking Cadbury eggs. She can't
those
get
Yeah, there you go.
It's all about the rabbit. Don't lie.
That Cadbury eggs are just too sweet.
Yeah,
Oh, they
those are
stupidly
sweet and
sweet.
starchy as fuck.
They are.
One of the things I would put in comparison, and I know this in, at least in Davenport and in Wilton and in West Liberty and in Muscatine and all the eastern Iowan cities that I'm around, we have authentic Mexican restaurants. And when some kid, and I used to do this because I had to learn what real Mexican food was. There is a place in Muscatine, Iowa. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's called
Wait,
El Mito. It's
Well,
called.
but you want
let
real
me
Mexican.
finish. Please let me finish.
All right.
There is a place in Muscatine, Iowa called El Mito. It's wonderful. It's genuine. It's probably some of the best Mexican food, genuine Mexican food you can get in eastern Iowa. And what it is it's real Mexican food. And when people go to Taco Bell or Taco John's or Chi-Chi's and they think that's Mexican, they go to a place like El Mito or an actual Mexican family restaurant, and they say how bland the food is. And I go, well, it's bland to you because you have been over-seasoned.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's what I mean. It is just, there is no flavor in the food when you go to especially, I mean, takeaways and things like that, you know, like fast food, undoubtedly.
Yeah, like
but
Taco
even
Bell,
in some of the
they
good
don't even
restaurants,
put cilantro on their burritos. You can't even get a burrito at Taco Bell with cilantro on it. All right, so, but I was gonna say, if you want real Mexican food, you got to come to the West Coast, dude. Sorry.
No, that's fair. I just wanted to make the comparison of, you know, what is authentic Mexican food as opposed to what people think is authentic Mexican, which they really don't pay attention to what's the difference between what is supposed to be Mexican and Tex-Mex. And then they wonder why they go to an authentic Mexican restaurant or family style Mexican restaurant, and it's so bland by comparison to their taste bud.
Because it's cooked properly and it doesn't have anything on it, and that's the whole point.
I
right?
don't think it's really bland though. I don't think it's bland though. They got cilantro on there. They don't really give you cheese. Cheese is actually a regular thing in burritos, unlike Americans think.
But Maddox, the whole point is you can season to taste. Right. The thing is, it's not presented pre-seasoned. You season to taste. Right. So it's up to you to add the salt then. You know, I mean, there will be an initial little bit of flavor enhancement. Right. But then if you want additional salt, then, you know, then you have it available. It's not like, you know, they're denying you the fucking salt. But at the end of the day, people dump it on. I've seen it happen time and time again. You get a really nice meal and then you see somebody just throwing salt on this thing like it's a fucking, you know, snow globe.
And a lot of times when you go to actual, and it's not just Mexican family restaurants, when you actually go to family style restaurants that are, whether it be Mexican or an overall American style or even anything of a specific nationality, when you compare that food with what you think that food's supposed to be because of what you either did or did not grow up on, you realize that not only have you been screwed over on your taste buds, but you go into those places and they have their own flavor because they make it according to a family recipe, which is supposedly may or may not have been passed down through generations, which is why they're so damn good. That's one of the biggest problems with America is not because America isn't great for having a variety of things. It's because we are so duped into thinking these big chains think that they know what everything should taste like, and they're not in comparison to home style
Well,
restaurants
because
from
they
other
want to make it
countries.
generic.
And
Yeah, but they want to make it generic.
Exact-
It's
it
not
is
meant to
generic.
actually be authentic.
It is
Yeah,
considered-
it's
it
not
is
authentic.
overly generic. That's the issue.
Yeah.
You can go to a McDonald's in any other country, and you can be an American and say, well, this isn't McDonald's. Technically it is, but it's geared more towards what that country's palate is, which is why it tastes different to you.
Well, I tell you,
Well,
I was
no,
really
it-
disappointed. I went to when I was in California. I went to fucking hell, Spanish tapas bar, and it was absolutely fucking hideous. I mean, I've been to tapas bars all over Spain, Madrid and Mallorca and in Barcelona and places like that, and I've never had. I don't know what the fuck they thought they were serving, but they claimed it was tapas. But I guarantee you now, if you took that person to Spain, they'd get fucking strung up on the street for serving whatever the fuck that shit was.
No, you were in California. You should have just went to fucking In-N-Out, dude. I'm sorry.
No, In-N-Out burger is very good.
In-N-Out
In-N-Out is the business. That really is. I've got to say that is one of the best burgers I've ever had in my life. That is good beef.
I know, right? And they only have like 4 burgers on the menu. But if you go, hey, I want chili, I want fucking 3 patties, I want this, they'll do it. They'll do anything you fucking want. It's fucking great.
Unless you're a liberal.
I was very impressed. And it's a shame, but why are they only on the West Coast? Why haven't they managed to venture out? Well, because they have their own beef farms.
Here's the thing: it's a franchising issue. A lot of areas, when you start going more towards the Mississippi, you'll start getting into the Carl's Jr., Hardee's, Checkers, and fuck, I was just watching a video on this and I thought it was hilarious. And that's more in the southern states. It's definitely not that In-N-Out Burger can't compete. It's just by a lot of standards in a lot of places, In-N-Out Burger, they're getting that similar style of food. No, it's not the price. They're getting that similar type of food from places such as Checkers or wherever else.
Right.
And it is. Well,
I don't know.
White Castle ain't even close to In-N-Out Burger. I went to California once, and I did have In-N-Out Burger. And aside from Wendy's, that is my hands down. That place is the tits.
In-N-Out was the only real burger that I thought.
It is.
That,
and that
really
is the last. That is genuinely the last bastion of actual burger.
It is. It is. It was amazing.
And
I mean, that's when you know you had a real burger.
It all has to do with money and franchising rights.
Are you sure? Because I thought it was because they also have their own farms, don't they?
Well,
they do. It's meant to be, from hoof to plate or whatever.
No, they do, and they actually cut the fries right there and fucking cook everything. It's all fresh. They just expanded into Oregon, and when they opened up a store in Medford, Oregon, it fucking had a line 10 blocks down, and for a day or two. I mean, holy shit.
I hope they maintain the standards. That's all. I mean, it needs some good QA.
Unless there's a burger war, which I would beg for it to happen, where Wendy's and In-N-Out Burger are the only remaining 2 fucking places left. We're never going to get an In-N-Out Burger in Iowa in my lifetime, which sucks ass because, unless it's homemade, you go to a restaurant or whatever. Nothing compares to In-N-Out Burger and Wendy's. I love Wendy's, but that doesn't even compare. I'm sorry.
Well, I wish In-N-Out come over here.
You know how many things in Europe I wish would come over to America, but they're too. But somebody's being a bitch about it, and I'm not talking countries. I'm talking businesses.
They're trade
exactly.
There's only one other fast food franchise though that I want to throw out there: Wiener Schnitzel.
Never had it. Never even heard of it.
I've ever had. Oh, best chili dogs I've ever had. They're chili.
Don't tell the people. Don't tell the people in New York that they would probably love to argue that shit like they love to fucking argue pizza between them and fucking Chi-Town and their pizza.
Oh my god. Yeah, let's talk about pineapple on
my
pizza.
God. I tried. What is that? I don't understand what the thing is about a chili
I don't either.
A Philly cheesesteak. It's disgusting. It's fucking horrible. The texture is nasty. The flavors.
I don't know about.
I mean,
that just may be a regional thing. That may be a severely regional thing because I don't. I live in Davenport, and if I wanted to, I can drive 2.5 hours to Chicago and get some Chicago-style pizza wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And it'd be like, okay, what's the big fucking deal? You can make this shit at home. And they get so pissy about it because it's a matter of pride and ego, which is why there's this big fucking debate between all the people that are foodaholics and foodies and, you know, connoisseurs of pizza and all that shit between New York style and Chicago style. I don't give a shit.
I don't know.
I don't get it either.
We have Papa Murphy's over here, which you go in and they fucking just make it.
Yep.
And they don't bake it. You know, you take it home and it's fresh baked.
Yeah, we got that in Iowa, and I love it. It's better than anything out there, except for me actually making it at home for my daughter when she comes home from the USAF and has a visit.
Yeah, we've had that for years. We used to go down to the, was it Asda? I think was the first one.
Not to use.
I mean, that's like 15 or plus years ago. You used to go down and just say, I'll have mushrooms, I'll have some of that, some of that, some of that, some of that. And they make it up, they put it in a little container, and then you go home and bake it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Papa Murphy's does. Except it's a whole pizza, and it's usually damn better. Now, not to use a comic book parlance, but we don't have a Pop Tate's chocolate shop around the corner anymore where they would make shit fresh right in front of your face. Now they do. Now we do have some, we all know the term greasy spoon type restaurants, but they really seem to be far and few between anymore.
I know, I miss those because they were really good. I mean, you don't want to go into them daily, but you certainly like to know they're around because it's like I'm not a fan of fast food, but I do like the occasional KFC. You know what I mean? You've had a few drinks and things like that, or like maybe, a few times a year. You like to know it's around so you can have one if you want one.
I would have to.
You get a kind of a yen,
I would have to say that Made Right, which started in Iowa. I'm sorry to tell everybody that copies loose meat sandwiches. It originated in Iowa in the 1920s. That to me is probably the last greasy spoon restaurant in the entire 50-mile radius of the Quad Cities area.
Oh no! You see, a greasy spoon over here isn't that kind of thing. It's different.
Oh well,
greasy
spoon restaurant is really like very made from scratch, homemade Mel's Diner kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's sort of like bacon, eggs, sausage, and I mean everything's
that's
fried.
What Made Right
Everything
is,
is
and that's what Made Right is in a way. And we don't have a lot of those. We used to have what's called a Ross's Famous restaurant in Davenport, and that went bye-bye. And that was really like Mel's Diner style. And that was, open 24 hours a day. You could get a Magic Mountain. That was purely greasy spoon, but ever since that went bye-bye, it seems that Made Right is one of the last bastions of what we could consider a greasy spoon. Now everybody can just do it at home. Fuck it. Sorry, but that's the way it rolls.
Well, no, and speaking of burger joints, though, we got Giant Burger in Springfield, Oregon, and it was actually on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and I've been there, and they have some delicious fucking burgers, man. That is good food, but it's expensive. You get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean. Like Burger King did over here. They did an Angus beef. Like pure Angus beef, some of the best meat you can get. And they did a burger, but like I said, it was like £8-9 for a burger, which is what, like $12 or something?
Well, no, and Giant Burger is one of those places. All right, they got a burger that if you can eat the whole thing, you can have it for free. It's one of those type of places. You know?
You have loads of those places in the States. That was so weird when I was going around there. Like 72-ounce steak with fries and fucking and grits and
I know they're such pricks too. They're such pricks. It's not just a fucking gigantic 12-inch burger. It's also a pile of fries. You have to eat that shit. Yeah.
That's right. And they bring it in a wheelbarrow. It's like, I mean, they really push it to the limit. They know damn well no one can finish the bucket. That's why,
Yeah, no, and that's why there's some people, that do finish it. They're hanging on the wall. They'd actually take a picture of it.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're hanging on the wall, but then they're probably in the fucking accident emergency unit about an hour later, having the fucking defibrillation.
Yeah, no, I never did the burger challenge at Monster Burger, but
No, I remember seeing
one of
one,
those
but
places.
it was literally. I remember seeing one of the burgers, you know, one of those challenges that you're talking about. And it was a burger that was, it must have been 4 feet across. You know,
Holy shit!
you couldn't put your arms around it. I'm not kidding.
No,
I mean, the buns are how the fuck they cooked it, I have no idea. What kind of ovens they fucking
unless
used
it's a chili burger. Unless it's a chili burger, there's no reason to use a fork for a burger. But at that point, you're pulling out a knife and a fork. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's. Oh, you saw that too, Lily. Yeah, you see, I'm not imagining it. I remember seeing that. It was bizarre. Fucking ludicrous. Well, no, and the one in Texas was a 70-ounce steak. I don't know what kind of fucking mutant animal they managed to pull. It looked like something out of a like a fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex or something. Friggin' ridiculous.
That sounds good though. It's just they always cook the goddamn thing rare. Like, okay, a little pink I'm good with, but I'm not a rare steak type of guy. So if there's blood all over the plate, I'm not really fucking down with it.
Yeah, I like it medium, you know, pink. No, I don't mind a bit of blood. Anyway, it's not even blood. It's a different substance. It begins with M. It's not actually blood. It's like
we've been going off here for over 3 hours. I say we wrap it up and head to Discord and hang out. Any last thoughts, Zero Cool? What's your favorite restaurant? Don't dox yourself, but anywhere you've ever been, what's your favorite?
Dude,
restaurant?
everybody knows I live in the Quad Cities of Iowa. It's not like I'm exactly doxing myself. Are we talking restaurant, or are we talking like anything, like any place that I've eaten?
I'm thinking a sit-down restaurant. Mine would be the Roadhouse Grill. They make fucking amazing burgers. They have this thing called the Clint Eastwood. It's a really good. I am
a big fan of Olive Garden in Davenport, off of Kimberly Road, by the North Park Mall.
Just that one though, like different Olive Gardens have different cooks, obviously. So maybe they fuck their food up, right?
No, I would say if I had a favorite sit-down restaurant that I have been to in my life, 40-some years on this planet, I would say one of the best places that I have been to, which I always get good service at, is the Olive Garden in Davenport, Iowa, on Kimberly Road next to North Park Mall. And that's saying quite a bit.
Oh, no, absolutely. And, like, there you go. They got a good review. Maybe they'll sponsor me. That'd be nice.
You wish.
Yeah, I know, right? Cabbage, your favorite restaurant when you visited the United States? When you came over here, where did you
in the
fucking
States
eat the best food? Yeah.
Well, like I said, if it was in the States, it would be the In-N-Out. That was that was kind of an eye-opener. That was when you really understand what a burger should taste like. That was good. But in the UK, my favorite, well, not my favorite, but my most memorable restaurant, I've been there 3 times, and it's called the Wong Keys. It's a very funny place. It's hilarious.
What kind of food do they usually serve? Real quick, we're wrapping this up, but
all right. Well, it's Chinese, but it's like, I mean, they have absolutely no respect for the customer whatsoever. It's, you know, like and you sit at tables, and they'll just move you around. It's like you have to move your food in between your meal because they've just got another bunch of people and stuff.
But that would piss me off. It's like I went to this one restaurant. It's kind of the sports type restaurant, and so everything is blaring. You got 30,000 TVs everywhere.
No, it's not. No, it's not like that at all. Like, no, mate. It's just basically this place is a Chinese restaurant, and it's like benches. You know, you got the tables, long tables and benches, and no, it's just the staff really just don't give a shit about the customers. They're so funny when you're there. It's like a comedy sketch. And the kitchen is in the basement, so they have to bring everything up the stairs. But they've got everyone waiting on the stairs. So all you hear all the time is like, "Get out of my fucking way!" Yeah, there's the waiters come up with the food. And
Old
stuff.
man yells
it's
at
hilarious, man. It is so funny. It's one of the funniest restaurants. You're like, it's like cabaret all the time. You know, and you could be sitting there in the middle of your meal, And then they'll tell you to move your meal up to the floor above because they've got a table of 6 that they need. They think they need that space, and so they just shove you up into the floor above, and you've literally got to carry your own food and stuff up the fucking stairs. It's a weird place. It's hilarious. But that's my most memorable one.
I think that's the British versus the American thing, because I'd be pissed. I'd be like, "What? I paid for my food."
That's just Chinese.
What the fuck?
That's just Chinese. It's a Chinese thing, and the reason it's got a reputation is because it's exactly like that. Everyone wants to go there to have the abuse experience.
God, you guys are a bunch of fucking masochists. But no, Dade, are you in my Discord already? If not, before we leave the chat, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me.
Okay, we're just gonna hang out in general, but we're wrapping it up. We're done. We went from natural disasters to food for an hour. We're fucking done.
Well, no, we went from natural disasters to fate, acts of God, to certain political things, to high fructose corn syrup, to restaurants, differences between chocolates and foods in general, and a little bit of almost everything in between, with some movies actors and things, and comics in between.
It was the Redeye stream.
We did a lot of everything.
Good night, everybody. Please like, subscribe. I do have a Patreon if you want to help the channel. I am doing a show every day now. Fuck it. I'm trying to get this thing rolling. So please help out the channel if you feel like it. If not, at least watch and hit like. Thank you very much, guys. Good night, good luck, and don't fucking move to France.